Is this introduction to Own the Stage, or is it Own the Stage? If you go back to that slide that you were just working on. Oh, that one's yeah. Anyway. Okay, and now we're on YouTube and Twitch and
YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook,
TikTok. Yeah.
We're gonna break the internet.
All the things.
Pretty audacious for me to say. Hormozy actually did break the internet.
All right.
One day we'll break the internet. That's my goal. Can that be one of my goals? Break the internet one day?
Sure.
Let's do this. Okay, now I've got that.
Now I just need to fix your camera, but that will happen in a second.
Okay.
Let's get this
on the stage
as well.
Beautiful.
There we go. All right.
All right, this is going to be the comprehensive training to go through the 11 steps that I've created on not only delivering your message from stage, but also monetizing it. That has an 11-step formula. Within each of those 11 steps, there's training. This is massive. This is PhD level stage facilitation because I decided this morning. My first photographic evidence of me being on stage is when I was 12 years old. But I started getting on stages when I was 5. So that means I've been on stage speaking publicly for 33 years. That's a lot of time. And I'm putting everything I can into this course. In fact, every day when I open it up and work on it, I'm adding something new. I spent probably 3 hours yesterday on body language alone. Man, we've got body language, we've got stage geography, we've got honing your message, we've got building your ebook, we've got apparel, we've got appearances, we've got how to get on stage, we've got 4 different kinds of stages, all of that. It is comprehensive. This is going to be a big... How do I use a better word than big? Someone in marketing give me a better word than big. This is PhD level. You will not find this in universities. You will not find this in colleges. You will probably pay more tuition for your pottery class and have a bigger waste of time. I mean, I say pay more in tuition. I mean, you're going to pay like $500-600 for tuition in your pottery class, but you're also going to spend hours and hours and hours there, and that won't yield you any money. So you have a really crappy ROI. This is meant to give you an ROI. This is meant to build your business. And I want to give you this example. If you know the average the average profit from each customer that you bring in, then you can easily calculate what's going to give you more customers and is it worth it. So if your average value per customer is $100 and you use this to get 10 new customers, then you've got an ROI, right? That's how you choose to spend your time in your business. All right. Tell me what else we need, love.
Okay, so in order to do this, here is your clicker.
Okay. Thank you, StreamYard.
Which slide? You want A? Is that what you're starting with?
Yes, starting with A.
Okay, so present.
What the one that's on?
Present.
Da 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 da.
Okay, and then we come over here.
And you got it.
Give me the freaking mouse.
Sometimes you go to the top. Oh, it won't do that, huh?
Oh,
you're right there.
There we go. Okay. OBS. That looks okay. I cannot get that to switch backwards.
That's okay. I can read backwards.
Okay. So right now, that's what you're showing. Click your buttons, test them.
Okay.
Wait. Okay. Now click your buttons and test them.
Do you remember when we were in a live webinar and the button stopped working?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay, then we go. Is this on camera cut out?
It is.
Be there the whole
what you
time?
see on screen is what you see on what will be there. That's what you wanted, right?
It is what I wanted, but I just don't remember if I designed all the slides to leave a space for that.
Do you want me to take it out then?
No, I want you to leave it in.
Okay. And then go back, hit the camera button.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to do.
And it goes to full screen. Oh, but we need to change the way it's looking. Okay. All right.
I just never asked you for the template to figure out where that.
We talked about it being in the bottom left corner.
Yeah, I guess I was looking for something that was like, hey, this is the inch by inch
Oh no.
size.
If you're looking for that, you gotta tell me.
I know. haven't been able to read my mind yet. I'm
Nope.
still working on that.
Well, let's move the tripod that's in the background.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tripods in here. Plus 2 stools.
Yeah.
And a dresser.
Okay, how's that frame up?
Could we go up a little bit? Like 1/8 of an inch. Ah, that's great. Beautiful. I want this. Actually,
Okay.
I do want that still. Okay.
What do you want?
Oh, that black book right down there.
Okay.
Everything's fine. Everything's good. Everything's good and fine and good. It's been my ringing in my head. Okay. Do you like my brick? Do you know what this is?
You told me once. I don't remember.
This was given to me by an audience member.
Okay.
Because whenever I teach, I'm like, hey, shout out Gold Nugget. And then he was
Brought you a
like,
gold brick.
he's like, that was more than a nugget.
Yeah.
That was an entire brick. So he spray painted a brick gold.
Nice.
Give it to me.
Okay. Let's test one more thing. Go
Okay.
ahead and hit the record button.
Mm.
Okay. Now say some things.
I'm saying some things.
Switch your screen.
I'm going to switch my screen.
Switch back.
Oh, check out that preview. Is that cut off down there? Oh, no, it's just cut off from maybe the angle of the...
To zoom or something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now go ahead and hit stop recording.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're going to test and make sure that recording captured all the audio and all of that fun jazz.
We've recorded so many sections of courses that have no audio, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
We lost, 2 hours?
That was awful.
It was so bad.
Where does it save those videos?
It's a great question. Go to recents. That's sometimes what works for me. And go to the bottom of recents.
It's date last open, isn't it? Today.
But we didn't open it today. Maybe, I don't know.
All right, let's open settings. And let's see where you need to move out of the way. Okay. Go away. Okay. Yes, go right there. Okay. General
By the way, we have the complicated way of building digital courses.
output.
We didn't start this way. We started just recording on Zoom. So if
It's
you're...
in the movies folder.
Oh, great. If you're
You don't
thinking...
have that as your...
I don't. If you're thinking of making digital courses, I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't wait for all of this tech setup to start recording your courses. You
No.
can just turn on your Zoom camera. You can make a Loom video. You can do something really, really simple. I'm trying to give a good reason why we upgraded.
Because I'm a geek and I wanted to.
Oh, make sure you have a geek on staff, you guys. Better yet, marry one. What's the difference between a geek and a nerd?
Gosh, I hate Mac sometimes. I still haven't figured it out completely. There's the movies folder. Open. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we are going to add this as a favorite somehow.
There you go.
Movies. Okay. Is that it? Is that the movie that we just recorded?
I don't think so. MKV.
MKV. Okay, so we don't want to output in MKV. We
Oh,
want
what's
to output
MKV?
in something else. Okay,
Matroska.
cancel,
It's
stop
Matroska
camera,
video.
Settings.
I don't even know what that is.
Output. We want to output in MP4. Warnings, recordings will be unrecoverable if the file cannot be finalized. That's right. Okay, so start virtual camera again.
Is that an instruction?
No, sorry.
Oh.
All right. Try that again.
And press record.
Press record.
We're recording. We're testing audio. Is this my microphone?
Switch to the
Now I'm
slides.
going to switch to the slides. Now I'm going to talk, and then I'm going to switch back to the camera, and now we're going to stop.
Okay, now we're going to see.
The remote worked. So happy. We're recording. We're testing audio. Is this my microphone? Now I'm going to switch to the slides. I'm going to talk, back to the camera, and now we're going to stop.
Beautiful. Test worked.
Now if we just do everything the same, it should work.
It should work. Switch your slide to the first slide. Oh wait, I have to do this. Okay, now switch your slide to the first slide. Okay. Oh, that was what I was saying. Introduction to on the. Do you want to say introduction to?
Because this particular group A is the introduction.
Is the introduction. Okay.
Yeah, good catch though. I probably should delete that on
The other slides.
the other slide.
Okay. Okay, I think it's ready to go.
Everything's good. Everything's
Josh,
good.
yes,
Everybody
ask
good.
away.
What did Josh say?
Josh Mula said, "Can I ask a question?" Yeah, you can ask a question.
100%.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
ready. Go ahead. Hit that record button and go.
Okay, let's do this. Before we start, intentions for this course.
To help people get on stage.
Not just get on stage.
Well, to make money on stage.
We want them to, I'm thinking of specifically a few people that I've worked with. I'm thinking of Paris. I'm thinking of Renee. I'm thinking of Chad. I'm thinking of Josia. I'm thinking of Alex. I'm thinking of all these people who have expertise, experience. They've been through the mess. They've totally healed from it in beautiful ways. And this is the group of people that are the beginnings of a massive group of people who are creating a ripple effect throughout the world. There will be people who I never meet that are blessed because this course exists, because their coach learned what to do, and now their coach can find them and help them. Battling or winning. Okay.
One more thing. At the beginning, just say what module it is.
Oh, yeah.
Or just go in order. Say,
Yeah, that's-
number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2. Number 3. Doesn't matter what module, whatever. Just, this is recording number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And if I need to create a prequel, I can say this is recording point 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
I hope we don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. There's a knot that just happened in my nose. My parasite test kit should be in the mailbox.
Okay.
So make sure I get that today. Sorry, I'm just waiting for this to pass. Okay, cool. So if I hit record right now, we should be good to go.
What?
If I hit record right now, we should be good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. This is video 1, Introduction to Own the Stage course. What is up? This is the comprehensive course. Congratulations, you're in the right place. If you're the kind of person that wants to take your message, get it on stage, deliver it to the world, and make money doing it so you can impact more people. My name is Marianne Hickman, and right now we're going to go into the introduction. First of all, let's just get started. Let's review why you're here. This is the Own the Stage course. If you're looking to get on stage, this is the place to be. If you want to take the digital stage, this is the place to be. If you want to make money delivering your message, this is the place to be. If you want to get paid to appear on stage, if you want to collect leads from stage, if you want to convert your audience and grow your business and learn every step of the way, everything from building your ebook to the body language to the stage geography, this is the place to be. So let me get into it. First things first, I'm here to teach you everything I know. I've been speaking on stage for 33 years and I've learned a thing or two, and I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to deliver to you everything I know. I'm going to tell you what worked. I even will tell you some things that didn't work, so maybe you can save some time and avoid some of the pitfalls that I had while teaching and learning this material. Now, stages are the scariest place in the world. The biggest fear known to mankind is public speaking, which makes this the scariest room to be in. Why is it the number one fear in the world? Because the stage makes you completely vulnerable. You're up in front of an audience. You're up in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And let me tell you this, before we get into anything else, stage fright, let's address this for a moment. Stage fright is, first of all, completely unnecessary because it's inherently selfish. Selfish thinking. Stage fright means, oh my gosh, what are they going to think of me? What if I make a mistake? What if I fall down? What if I say something stupid? You're thinking about you. So if you have stage fright, the good news and the bad news is that it's all in your head. All you need to do is let it go and think about your audience. So, yeah, it's going to be scary. Yeah, practicing is going to be scary. Yeah, when we certify you and we get you in the pressure cooker and we pick apart your presentation, that's going to be scary, but it is necessary, critical to get that completely honed in so that you can find the people and transform their lives. So let's talk about your goals first. I'm going to go through this section, and then after that, I want you to pause this video and actually write down your goals. So you don't want to start anything before you know what you want at the end. So I'm going to give you my blueprint for goal setting. This is something I actually go over in my daily accountability calls, 7 a.m. every day, how to achieve your goals, okay? The number one key in goal achievement is what I call the bulletproof game plan. Number one, you have to make a measurable goal. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a second, babe. This slide has, is it too late to go through and move things out of the way of the on-camera picture of this slide?
No, that's fine.
I think we should. What do you think?
Sure.
Okay, so I do that by, if I press escape, am I going to mess something up?
No. So what you're going to do is, did you stop the recording or are you still recording? Don't stop it. Oh, okay. I asked if you did, not giving you instructions.
I know.
But that's okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to come here, and now we're going to hit escape. And now you just want this moved over?
Nope. I want to be able to edit that if I possibly can.
Oh, okay.
So where do I edit it?
On that screen right
On
there.
the screen? Okay, perfect. I wish that I had done this beforehand.
What if you just flipped it reverse? The cam or the picture in the background? Flip it horizontally and put all the words on the other side.
That's a good thing to do. I'm halfway through doing the thing that will also work.
Okay, so just so you guys know, that Tasha's asking, she just said slide, or there's slides. Yes, there are slides.
Yes, there are slides.
This is meant to be a sneak peek.
You're backstage with me. So yes, when the course gets released, you'll see all the slides.
And yes, we are using a teleprompter.
Yes, we have a teleprompter, and I'm reading in reverse.
It's great.
There's an extra skill set there. So when you take the course, you'll be able to see the slides. I don't have the ability to put the slides up in front of you in all of these streams, but when the course goes live, yeah, you'll be able to see all the slides. Okay, I fixed it. So what do I do next? Do I go back into present mode through Canva?
Yes.
Okay, now do I hit the record button?
Yeah. Hit the record button. I'll make sure that it's recording. Did you hit? Okay, now it's recording. And yeah, okay.
Sweet.
Keep going.
Okay, cool. So this is video 1.1. Is that helpful?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. So the first thing I want you to do is organize your goals. This is how it's done. I have this bulletproof game plan on how to make goals and make them achievable. In fact, if you're part of my daily accountability call, this is what we review every single morning. If you're part of my daily accountability call, this is what we review every single morning. Number one, make a measurable goal. So if your goal is to make a certain number of dollars in your business by a certain date, that's your measurable goal. You can't just say you want to grow a business or have a successful business. You want to know what that means so that you know how far you are from it and the steps you need to break down and reverse engineer to get there. Number two is to declare the goal publicly. It can't just live in your head. You got to share it with your coach. You got to share it with your tribe. You got to share it with your peers and your community. There's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, it's putting your goal from thought into physical. It's spoken. Maybe even write it down. Number two, now you've got some people that can hold you accountable and say, hey, how's that going? Hey, maybe I can help with that. Hey, I've got some resources that could be a benefit to you. Number three is break down your goal into action steps that you can chip away at every day. This is why you need to make it measurable and give it a deadline. So if I want to make $1 million by the end of the year, then I know halfway through the year, I should be halfway on track. And if I'm not halfway on track, then what do I need to do to catch up and make up the rest? Number four, set a consequence for dishonoring the goal. Now, this consequence has nothing to do whether or not you achieve the goal by the deadline. This consequence is triggered by you not taking the action from step 3 that you know you should on a regular basis. We've got some crazy consequences in our group. I've got people that are like, oh my gosh, I got to shave an eyebrow if I don't do that. In fact, we've got someone that needs to shave an eyebrow, waiting to see that happen. We've got people that are like, I have to jump on the trampoline outside in front of everybody. I have to go to the gym dressed up in pigtails in front of everybody if I don't take this action step. And it's crazy how infrequently people have to take the consequence more than once. Usually people are like, oh, that sucked. I don't want to do that consequence again. That consequence has to be so repulsive that you will do everything to avoid it. I've had to put my hair on the line more than one time, and that consequence has gotten me out of bed at like 9:30 at night, 11:30 at night, because I have to do it. Otherwise, I have to have my consequence, and people know. They're going to hold me accountable for it. And it's a way to keep my integrity intact and say, if I did miss, I'm doing this consequence because I said I would. Number 5, set a reward for your action steps. We base this every week. We check in. In my group, we say, my daily action step is this. If I miss a day, here's my consequence. If I do it every day throughout the week, I get a reward. And it's something that is not gigantic. I'm not going to buy a new McLaren every time I do my weekly thing. Maybe it's something that I would like to do, but I don't ordinarily treat myself to do otherwise because I get too busy, or it's not, usually it's just because I get too busy, to be honest. So if I give myself this, hey, I'm going to take my daughters out, we're all going to go get manicures at the end of the week. That's my reward if I do everything every day. That's great. Something achievable, but a little bit extra. Maybe an extra few bucks on a gift card to a store that you like. That's been a very common one. And then number 6 is use an accountability partner. If it's a community, great. If it's a single person, great. But someone that you can check in with every single day and tell them, yes, I did my thing, let's celebrate. Or no, I didn't do my thing, I'm going to have my consequence, and let's still celebrate that because my integrity is still intact. Let me share with you how this started. This is the picture I told you about where I'm 12 years old. This is my first public speaking gig. When I did my first, I got to clarify, when I did my first event of my own stage, nobody showed up. This event was not mine. The event that's in the picture here, this was speaking at an Optimus speech contest. There was about 20 people in the audience. But my first event that I put on, 0 people showed up. Nobody in the room but me. I had made $0 public speaking. And I all started with one stage. This is where it starts. You might be starting ahead of me, which is great. But you might be starting where I started, which is with nothing. And if you're there, we can teach you how to get really far advanced. If you're already starting ahead of where I was, good news. It's just going to get better. Let me tell you how it's going. Pause. I'm going to stop the video.
Okay.
I have everything anchored on the left side.
And why don't we just move the camera to the right corner?
That's cool. You know how to do that, but I don't.
So that we don't have to keep pausing and doing all this every time. Let's just do that.
Yeah, okay, you do that. Somewhere in the back recess is my head. I made the slides program to be camera in the right corner.
Okay. We'll just...
Even better.
Do that.
Amazing.
And you should be good to keep going.
Okay, so hit record again.
Yeah, I'll make sure that it's still recording. Go ahead.
Okay, so video 1.2. This is how it's going so far. Actually, 26 years of speaking experience. And we're going to go back to when I was 5 and I started speaking. So really that should say 33 years speaking experience, which is pretty dang cool. I took a company and I 10x'd the revenue of that company. So this wasn't even my company. This is someone I was working with. That means $54 million in revenue generated, not only from me, but from my clients as well. 82,000 so far lives changed and over 2,000 stages worldwide. Now, if you include my clients in that, we're in the tens of thousands of stages worldwide, which is ultimately my goal. This is what I want to do. I want to see you make $1 billion. I want 1 million people making $1 billion. Some of you are going to make a bigger piece of that pie, but we can just make a bigger pie. I want to find my first 100 people. I have a list in my phone. My first 100 people that I want to make you millionaires. I want to take you and put you on stages. I want to take you and make your stage presentation world class so that when people hear you speak, they say, when's the next time you're speaking? When can I come to your next event? We have everything we need to do that right here in this course. I want to know, what's your why? Why do you want to do this? What's behind this for you? Why do you want to appear on stages? Why do you want to build a business? Why do you want to have these amazing financial goals? What's in this for you? And in fact, I want you to pause the video and do some journaling. What is your why? And if you need a clue, look at your lock screen on your phone. What is your why? Take 2 minutes, journal this. Why do you want this so bad? And this doesn't necessarily have measurables. This is the feeling behind it. Take 2 minutes, do that right now. Okay, welcome back. Now, if you needed some help with that, your why is probably on your lock screen. Look on your phone. Here's why I want to go into your why. Motivation is temporary. You need motivation to get your butt out of bed in the morning. You need motivation to get your butt to the gym. You need a kick in the pants. Your why is stronger than that. Your why is what carries you when motivation runs out. Motivation comes from coaches. They're the ones in your back pocket. They're going to say, hey, get your butt in gear, get to the gym, go do this, get on stage. These are the people that push you, and that's not a bad thing. You want that. But your why is what happens when the coach isn't talking. Until you know and connect with your why, your prospect cannot connect with theirs, which means your client won't find you. And if they do find you by chance, they're not going to be very successful because you don't know how to get them to their why. So this is why it's critical to understand your why. I don't know how many times we can say this in one phase, in one module, but let me just underscore how pivotal this is for you, because in those moments when it gets hard, and I promise you it will, those moments when you feel like giving up, those moments when you've had to bag this idea and burn this thing down, this is what allows you to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and keep going. And if you don't have that, don't start. And if you don't have that, go work for somebody who does. There are some of us that are made to be entrepreneurs. And if you're made to be entrepreneurs and you're working for somebody else, I'm going to tell you, first of all, that's okay. But there will be a point when you start to chafe, when it starts to itch, when you want to get out on your own. And don't wait for a steamroller from God to come and push you out of that, because it will be way more painful than you going out on your own. Now, if you were meant to be a W-2 employee and work for someone else, that's okay too. Entrepreneurship might not be for you. If you have a backup plan of going back to a job, maybe you're not ready for entrepreneurship. But those of you that are ready, these are the people that are willing to put everything on the line to make it work. The big, hairy, audacious goal, or in other words, the BHAG. What's a big, hairy, audacious goal? This is what you start with the end in mind. These are some goals that I had that felt, when I made them, big, hairy, and audacious. And I gotta tell you, it is so fulfilling to check these off the bucket list. I have to sneeze again. Stop the video.
Don't stop the video in the future. Just let it go.
Okay.
And I'll just cut it out.
Okay.
It's easier than having to drag and drop multiple files into the same one. Just keep going.
You're the
I'll cut it
producer.
out.
You just tell me what to do.
I'll cut it out.
I don't know. Okay, this is video 1 point something. We're continuing. I don't know.
Let me make sure it's actually recording.
It says it's recording.
Does it? Okay, good.
It's got a blue bar that says stop recording, so I'm assuming that means it's recording, yeah?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, cool. Have fun editing this. I might leave some Easter eggs in there for you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Make sure you watch everything. Richard gets to watch this course like 8 times. All right, I'm a public speaker. I speak for a living. These are some of my BHAGs, my big, hairy, audacious goals. First of all, my faith goal. I want really strong connection with my Creator because I know I don't have all the answers. There's a picture of Richard and I in Iceland as we were on our trip. Guys, that happens to be another one of my goals, is to travel a ton. We had a goal the first year we got married to travel once a month for that year, and to be able to get to the end of the year and be like, oh my gosh, we did that. How cool. Oh, that was awesome. We should put that on our goal sheet again, to travel once a month for a year. Maybe 2025. We're already halfway into 2024.
Yeah, maybe when Jerem is like 3.
We took him to Mexico when he was 3 weeks old.
I know, but that's different.
Maybe it wasn't a good idea.
I think taking a 3-week-old to Mexico is easier than taking an 18-month-old.
Probably. I would agree with you there. So, speaking of which, my family goal. My goal is to have a family with all of my children and my husband, and we do things together. We create memories together. My family comes first before anything. My family comes first before recording this course. My family comes first before doing podcast interviews. Everything gets to be filled in on my calendar with my family, and then my work fills in around that. Finances. There's some big, hairy, audacious goals I have with my finances. And by the way, the goals that I have represented here that I've already achieved, that doesn't mean I'm not creating a new goal. My next faith goal is bigger than my last one. My next family goal is bigger than my last one. No, that does not mean I'm having more children. We are done. My next finances goal is bigger than the one I've achieved already. I had once upon a time a goal to fly a private jet. I got to sit in the cockpit of a private jet and fly it and do the check-in over Denver. How cool was that? One of my next financial goals is to have enough money to buy my own island and create my own escape pod there and have retreats where I pay for my entire family to go, and I not only pay for them to go, but I cover their cost of missing work so they don't have to worry about finances anymore. I have fitness goals, you guys. This is one of my milestones for my fitness goals, to show up in a bikini competition after having 6 kids. Done. And then I have a philanthropy goal. I've done amazing, beautiful mission trips all over the world. We've been able to give back to communities, especially communities like this with sex trafficked kids. We have big goals, Richard and I do, with serving that specific community. So have big, hairy, audacious goals. If you don't have them and you're in the wrong place, just turn the course off. Don't continue. But if you have big, hairy, audacious goals, that's why we're here. Here's some more of my goals, the ones that you get to be a part of. My next goal is to have 100 millionaires. I told you I have a list in my phone. There's names on that list. This isn't hyperbole. This isn't rhetorical. I literally have a list in my phone. If you want to be on that list, you got to text me, and then we got to put you on the list. That's my baby knocking at the door. He's so strong. Oh, that's so cute. We have an amazing nanny who's helping him. Hi. You can be with him for a little bit. I'm good. I love that. I love that sweet baby of mine. And yes, we do have a nanny taking care of him, so we can do this. And I know I said family comes first. It does. And he's okay. He's fine. He's got coverage. All right. So next is $1 billion in client revenue, which means I want, outside of my revenue, I want you guys to all make $1 billion. $1 billion with a B collectively. And I send out surveys every week in my school community saying, how are you doing? How much revenue did you collect? So I am measuring. I know that we're 5% there. That's such a cool measuring stick. And I want 1 million client stages. I want you to be on 1 million stages. I know where we're at on that. My spreadsheet tells me. It's all written down. So those are my goals together. I want us to accomplish this, and I want you to be a part of it. I want to talk about the law of gestation for just a moment. This is me pregnant with my last baby. There's the law of gestation. Here's what it says. There's a given incubation period, a gestation time, a time where this takes place for each seed. If you look on the back of a seed, a package of seeds that you get at the store, the grocer or the garden store, it's going to tell you how many days it takes to germinate. That's another word for gestation in this case. How long it takes to go from seed to something that produces, and even time beyond that to go from something that it's growing to something that's bearing its own fruit. There is a time period. So yes, I want you to create goals. I want them to have deadlines, but this is why your rewards and consequences aren't tied to the deadline, because you may be way off on your deadlines. You might need more or less time. You just don't know. Sometimes we don't get to know the gestation period. And the point of this is not giving up midstream. Whatever you're creating, whatever empire you're building, it does require your time. It does require your energy, good energy, and it requires your effort to do it right. Abandoning your why halfway through, your dream can't continue. So even though you don't see results right away, don't give up. If your why is worthy, don't give up. There's an analogy that is widely well known with Chinese bamboo. I'm going to share it with you here. Chinese bamboo is a fickle plant. You water it, the first year, nothing happens. Nothing breaks the soil. But the second year, you water it some more. Still nothing. You keep giving it sunlight. You keep giving it soil. You keep adding on the water. Year 3, still nothing. But in year 4, you keep watering it, giving it sunlight, giving it soil. Guess what? You're going to get nothing. Year 5, more water, more sunlight, more soil. And suddenly, there's a peak above the soil. A little shoot starts to come up. And what happens over the next 90 days is exponential growth. You can watch this stuff grow. It grows that fast. What was happening the first 5 years? The root system was becoming so strong and robust enough that it could handle that exponential growth. So maybe you have your $1 million a year goal, and you're halfway through the year and you don't have $500,000 yet. Don't give up. You might just be developing the root system that takes you to exponential growth. Maybe you'll get your $1 million in the last 3 months of the year, but if you stop halfway through because you don't see the results, you can't get to the end. So look at me right now. Keep going. Your cause is worthy. Don't give up. Let's get back to our slides here. Check this out. Now, here's some homework. I want you to pause the video. I want you to stop after I explain what this is, and we're going to go through it. Every vertical gets a measurable, whether it's your health, your wealth, your relationships, your business, everything gets a measurable. Now, you get to measure these metrics over time and to see how close you are to success. And celebrate that. I've had a few clients that come in and they didn't tell me that they got a few new paying clients of their own. And I thought, bro, you're ripping me off. I want to see your successes. I want to celebrate your wins. And please don't judge them to be small wins. Celebrate everything that you do that generates a success. So here's a few things that you can measure. Weekly revenue, the physical stages you've won, the digital stages that you've won, how many new followers you have across all of your social, how many views you have. Those views are great. They are eyeballs. How many personal wins that you get. Maybe you're losing weight along the way. Maybe you're generating beautiful family relationships along the way. Maybe you're creating a system where you don't ever miss a baseball game or a soccer match along the way. Just track your wins. Your brain wants to know how well you're doing. So give yourself the benefit of tracking your wins. And here's the thing I want to say last. Stay accountable. I want you to stay accountable. And not only to just track your wins, but to keep track of everything that you're doing. I want you to join our community. If you're not already in the Mastery Hive School community, I want you to get in it today. At the end of this module, there will be a link so you can join that community. In fact, if you're in this course, you have access to that community. The number one key in goal achievement is what I call the bulletproof game plan. It's exactly what we outlined at the beginning of this module. These 6 steps are what get you to that next goal. And you're going to chip away at it, and you might not have all of the deadlines figured out, but you're going to make them up, and that's okay. You will surprise yourself. You will shock yourself at what you can get done when you have a group that you're accountable with and you follow these 11 steps. I'm going to go back and say that to 6. You will shock and amaze yourself with what happens when you follow these 6 steps. So Up next, our next module is the 11-step overview to the Own the Stage course. This doesn't have a picture for the bottom right person.
What are you talking about?
That was really poorly worded.
Yeah.
That was, congratulations for trying to figure that out. So the in-camera video doesn't look good with this slide.
Oh, okay.
Can I change it?
Yep, sure. Yeah.
Okay, I think that should work. It does. How amazing.
Okay.
I apologize for the amount of editing that you're going to have to do. It's a really good thing you think I'm cute because you're going to be watching a lot of me.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm cute?
I do. I do. Yes.
I know. All right, up next, the 11-step overview. There are 11 steps to delivering your message from stage and monetizing it, getting on digital stages, getting on physical stages. There are 11. I'm going to start this section over again. Up next, the 11-step overview to owning the stage and monetizing your message. I lay out everything for you in these chunks, and watch for homework assignments because you might watch 2, 5, 10 minutes of video and then go do something. Good for you. You've got the ability to pause the video. So if you need to go back and rewatch stuff, that's what this is for. You have the luxury of doing that. And as you have questions, because I hope that you will, I know that you will, post them in the school community so you can get live answers, or at least within 24 hours, next business day answers as we go along, because the quality of your questions is going to determine the quality of your results, and I want your results to be astronomical. So we'll see you in the next module. We did it. First module done.
First module done.
We did it. Was there a question on the recording there?
No,
So
yeah.
Josh asked if he could ask a question.
Yeah, and then never
Ask
did.
it. Okay.
I might not have caught it in time.
Okay. First module done.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the end. Okay, so this is a part 2 of video 1.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Some video
It's the same module.
will have multiple parts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next lesson.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to go through these right now and check the bottom right-hand corner so I don't have to stop again.
Okay.
Is that cool? That one. So this one, for example, I'm not going to edit it, but maybe you can. What do you think? So I don't want to move the pieces around because that's an infographic.
You know what I'm going to do?
What do you want to do, baby?
I'm going to do this.
There's a few infographics that aren't necessarily slides, right?
We're going to do this.
This is a good chance to ask questions, guys. We're not recording right now, but if you're live on any of these platforms, if you're on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, go ahead and ask those questions. And this is a good chance for Q&A to filter in between recording sessions here.
Okay, I'm going to take your...
That bad boy?
I'm going to take your stop and record buttons away. You can reach over and do that.
Okay. I want to know how you've been liking the stage fail a day that we've been doing for this month. The month of June, we've done a stage fail a day. We're 20 videos in. I did have some makeup work to do. I'm a couple of videos behind, and I had my consequence for that. I put my own stage fail up there. And I want to see how you're liking those. Some of those. Here's what's funny is that I've heard that the algorithm is, specifically on Instagram, it is cracking down on people who have CTAs, which is exactly what I was trying to do the month of June, is have a call to action to follow. And you know, it's crazy on TikTok is I started this with 3151 followers and I'm now down to like 3134. So as far as my growth goal on Instagram, it hasn't worked at all. In fact, it worked in reverse. But on TikTok, I've got 25% growth in followers, which is really kind of fun. So there's more of us hanging out on TikTok now, which is awesome. I'm not doing this on YouTube. I've already got 43,000 people on YouTube, so I haven't focused on growing to 10K there because we're good. I want to know if you're enjoying the videos. What's crazy is what I'm learning about video production content. I've got really good at getting fast. I've also learned what videos do well in terms of likes, comments, shares, and follows, and which videos do poorly. I recently had a friend of mine reach out and say that they were advised to remove every video off their Instagram profile that wasn't at least at 1,000 views. I wanted to know what you thought about it. Did any of you do this? Is that something that I should be doing? I've taken the same video that has done really, really well, that maybe has 2,000 views, and reposted it, and then it gets like 200 views, which is an interesting thing. It's
Okay. Oh,
we good?
Sorry. No, you finish your thought and then I will.
Oh, no, you're good. It's just interesting to pit the algorithm against real people. We're all trying to play this algorithm game, but the truth of it is, if we like something, we're going to hit the like button. If we want to share it with someone, we're going to hit the share button. And at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, am I trying to play to the algorithm, or am I trying to speak to my audience? Because even if your reach goes down, sales don't have to. They can go up.
Okay. So, what's that? No, okay. All right. Left and right still works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, look at this. This is what it's going to look like.
Okay.
Camera only. Slides only. Slides in camera.
We can turn that on and off?
Slides in
Shut
camera.
the front door.
Or back to just full size. So, there you go. If you want someone to be able to read it, just go slides only, camera only, slides only, both.
That's brilliant.
And then left and right.
Do you want me to re-record the first one?
That might be a little easier than the billion pieces of editing that I'll have to do.
Okay.
It might be a little easier, to be honest.
I know that neither of us want to.
No, but it might be
probably
easier.
save you some time on the back
It's going
end.
to save a lot of time on the back end, actually.
Yeah.
So, present.
There's a shortcut to that.
Okay, well, I've got it up now, so.
See those? Oh, never mind. Do you want to know what it is?
No, I don't care to. It's
Okay.
okay. Camera. Start recording. Module 1, starting over.
Wow.
Okay.
You guys get to hear the same information twice. But here's my rule. Unless you can teach it, listen to it again. I have rules. I have lots of rules.
Yes.
I need to start writing them down, like Gibbs. Wouldn't that be awesome?
It would be. Maybe.
I need a Janet in my life.
Janet.
From The Kid. He has this assistant Janet that just follows him everywhere.
I cannot wait till we have a Janet. We have a mini Janet right now with Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But we need one.
No, she's not a mini. She's like a full-blown PhD
it's
level.
Like different. It's different.
I need a Janet 2.0.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the actual recording of Module 1. Camera, slide and camera, slides. I gotta get my fingers used to this. I need like an Xbox finger memory. Welcome to the Own the Stage course. Now, my name is Marianne Hickman, and I'm about to teach you everything that I know about owning the stage, getting on stage. Listen, I've spent 33 years on stages all over the world, over 2,000 stages under my belt, and it's growing every single week. I'm going to give you everything that I know that has generated over $54 million in revenue, not just for me, but for the people I've worked with as well. Let's jump right in. I'm going to say something.
What?
For the first module, I'm going to recommend that you take what's valuable from the first recording of the first one and input it into this, because I dropped some gold nuggets off the top of my head there.
Then don't re-record it. Then just keep going. I'm not going to go through and look at both and try and splice them together. Like, that's going to take me hours.
Okay.
That will take so long to watch both, compare, make decisions. Like, that will take a long time. Which one do you want? The one you just did? Or do you want to re-record it?
I just dropped off so many off-the-cuff nuggets
Okay, so
there.
then I'll just edit the first one.
Okay.
Go ahead and just do
The second one?
the second one.
Okay.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Hit the stop recording button. There you go.
Oh, the slides button still has the record icon.
Yeah.
That confused me.
And then,
Okay, now we're going to go to the module. I pressed escape when it was highlighted on the screen. Is that going to cause a problem?
I don't know yet. We'll see.
All right, so let's go to part 2 of module 1. Okay, now I hit record.
No, because the record button's gone, remember?
Oh yeah, so I just hit record. Oh. Okay, gotta go over to this screen. There's my mouse and hit start recording here. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, this is module 1, part 2. Yeah?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, whoop. Do we have an earthquake on TikTok?
On a couple of different places, yeah. Okay.
Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so this is part 1, module 2. Slides, and can slides. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at the training overview of these 11 steps. This is going to be comprehensive into every single one of these sections. Check this out. Okay, it's not advancing the slides.
Oh, you have to go put your cursor back on the other screen.
This one?
No,
Or
put
here?
it on that one. Click, and then get your cursor off the screen so it doesn't show up. Okay. Now the left and right buttons will work.
Look at that.
There
Okay.
you go.
So here are the 11 steps of creating monetization with your message. Each one of these will have its own set of modules. So feel free to screenshot this. I'm going to briefly... That wasn't an infant.
That is.
That is an infant. He's getting strong.
He is. But, I mean, he absolutely demanded part of my protein shake, so that's probably why. He refused to let me drink the whole thing. He had to have some of it.
Put some creatine in there too.
I should, huh? But anyway. Yeah.
Then add protein. But after that, add some protein. All right, so here are the 11 steps of monetizing your message with your signature presentation, with the ebooks. Let's go over this. And remember, I'm going to give you a module and a series of modules for each one of these. Screenshot this, put it in your back pocket. You can stick it to your mirror and save it for later. And the reason I want you to do that is because while you're looking at these, I want you kind of to have a heading of where you're at in the process. So if you have this like plastered to your fridge or to your desktop or a printout of it somewhere, put a little circle magnet on where you're at in the process, or an indicator of some kind of sticky note is great. So you know where you're at all times. Step number 1 is define your expertise. There's a lot to this, and we're going to go over it in the next module, but we're going to understand what it exactly is that you do well. And not only that, how your audience hears you and understands you so they know that you do this thing well too. Number 2 is your signature presentation. This is the 10-step keynote that we're going to go over. This is where we talk about stage geography, how to deliver your message, exactly how to move the audience and create that emotion. Next is create your ebook. This is the thing that brings leads to you, converts your audience into leads, so then you can upsell them and they become part of your program and your courses and you get more customers. Step number 4 is get on bunches of stages. Take the stage, appear on podcasts, create digital stages. This is where we're also going to talk event construction, playbook construction. I've been doing events for decades. You guys have learned a thing or two. I'm going to give it to you all here in step 4. Step number 5, then we've got to sell. We're going to go from audience to leads to customers. This is the paywall where you convert your leads into paying customers so that you can continue to do what you do well. Because guess what? All of these things, it takes cash. You've got to pay money to create your stage. You've got to pay money to print your ebook. Now, I will say this caveat. These 11 steps can be done without any money. You can do this for free. But if you want to do more of it and do it well, it's time to put your money where your mouth is and create an investment so you can collapse the time. Next step is fulfillment. Deliver what you promised in your sales. Whether it's one-on-one coaching or delivering a course to people, you can fulfill on that. Next is build out your value ladder. Once you learn about your community, you learn about your customers, you learn about what they like, what they don't like. And again, once you hear a question more than twice, now you know you can create a product out of it. So we're going to flesh out your value ladder. You may find that your value ladder grows and evolves over time. That's really exciting. Step number 8 is to scale. Maybe that means for you, create another ebook, get on more stages, sell more people, whatever is bringing you the most income, or in other words, whatever is most ROI for you, do more of that. Then take a look at your weak links. Do more of that. Whatever, and this is more in step 11. We'll go back to that. But step 10 is to scale. Do more of what's working, in other words. Step 9, introduce automation. Now, I don't like to automate everything, but I do like to automate some things that don't require a personal touch. This will be a really cool discussion when we meet in person of what I should automate, when you should automate it. But for example, delivery of goods. I love to automate delivery of goods because if people ask for this thing, I want the computer to deliver it to them. I want to automate emails. I want those to go out without requiring me to type a new email each time and sit down with the computer. But I also want them to have my personal touch. So as much automation as you can, plug it in. Okay. Next one, know your numbers. You got to track. You got to see what's working. How many stages have I been on? How many customers did I get from that? What's the average dollar value per customer? What's the average cost for acquiring each customer? Once you know your numbers, you can patch the holes, which is number 11. Once you know your numbers, you can see what's going really, really well and how do I do more of it. And then I can see, are there any holes in my business? Is there anything that's costing me extra money? It's like going to your subscriptions and turning off the subscriptions that you never use. By the way, if you want a really quick money-saving tip, go to your phone, look at your subscriptions under your settings and see are there any subscriptions that I forgot about that I need to unsubscribe. Last one is patch the holes. This is where you're identifying where you're weakest. You do that better. And then you go on to back to step 3 and then create your next ebook and go through the entire system again. You need to patch the holes in your automation. You need to patch the holes in your fulfillment. You need to patch the holes in your sales. Maybe you have extra stuff in your value ladder that you don't even need. Get through that, patch all of the holes, and then you're going to start the process over again. And this is the upward cycle of growth. This is how you exponentially grow. You may find in this process that you change your prices. Maybe you have a product that takes your time and you're doing a lot of it and you're running out of time. That's an indicator to you that supply and demand have fallen out of equilibrium and now you get to raise your prices, which is really exciting. Maybe you found something that, oh my gosh, I'm going to reduce the price on this because I've just made something really cool and given the thing an upgrade so I can reduce the price of the old one, just like technology does, right? VCRs went way far down in price from when they first got produced. Okay, let's go back to our slides. So let's jump into step 1. Define your expertise. What are you really good at? What could you teach about with no notice? What do you enjoy doing that you have experience in? These are really great questions for defining your expertise, and we're going to get more in depth on this, and we're going to have some homework as we go along. So whenever I say pause the video and do this thing, that's your assignment. Also, whenever I say pause the video and do this thing, I want you to report in the school community. I want you to tell us about it. What went well? What did you learn about yourself? Let's network and find out how we can help each other. So let's check this out and go in. Step number 2, your signature presentation. I'm zooming in on each one of these modules for you. I want you to get through this 10-step formula, develop your signature keynote presentation, and make your content go into your ebook. Your content also goes into your value ladder and becomes what you are known for. Here's the good news. Whatever in your signature presentation, whatever you're teaching, that's the same stuff you're posting on Instagram. That's the same stuff you're writing about. That's the same stuff you're making content about. Everything that you create in this course, like everything I create in this course, I'm screenshotting this and these are also going out on Instagram. There's also going out on YouTube. I'm just saying the same thing over and over and over again on different platforms, and it makes content creation really simple and really easy. So step number 3 is create your ebook. This is easier than you think. In fact, I have a very simple course on how to do just this, where you can watch me do this with other people. You can check it out in the links of this module. If you want a side quest, this is where you go. This is easier than you think. I'm going to say that again. Most people think that when they write their first book, it has to be something like this. 150-page book that they then produce. And guys, that book never gets written. Most of you have books inside of you that have been there for at least half a decade or more. And those have never been written because it's so daunting to write your first one. The ebook is so critical because it is exactly the thing that turns your audience into leads. It's their first yes with you. So create your ebook is step 3. The reason you want this here is because before you appear on stage, you want a way to convert the audience that you're in front of. You'll condense this ebook down to a 1-page. You can give that away to people who have known you for a very little amount of time. Easy to give away in your Instagram stories or your TikTok. People that don't have a lot of time experience with you are going to want a shorter version of what you have. And then you're also going to expand it into courses. So if you take a look at what I've done, this 1 page that I showed you a second ago, that slide with all 11 steps, guess what? That's my 1 page. I give that away for people. Like, here it is. Here's the entire system in 1 page. Now people are like, oh, I read your 1 page. I loved it, but I need more answers on this. Then they download my ebook on the signature presentation, or they download my ebook on sales, or they download my ebook on whatever one of these 10 steps. And then they take a look at that and they're like, oh, wow, that was really good, but I need more in-depth training. Then they join my community. And if they want more in-depth training, they do one-on-ones with me, or they want more in-depth training on one specific module. I've got mini courses on those modules. I want you to copy me, guys. This is what's working. Let's go to the next step. Step 4, take the stage. Now remember, you only want to take the stage after you have your ebook. If you take the stage and you don't have your ebook in hand, your audience can't say yes to you and they can't convert. Now, what about the stages that don't allow you to do a giveaway? Sometimes you're going to appear on stages that say, we don't allow you to do a call to action. You don't get to give away a material. You don't get to give away an ebook. Sometimes that happens, and here's how the stage is still worth it. You're going to get up on that stage and you're going to share your name. You're going to deliver such a powerful presentation that people will want to follow you. Oftentimes, even though you can't do a giveaway and collect emails, the host of the event will still allow you to do a soft call to action and have people follow you on social media. When they do that, the main post on your social media that day is your call to action to your book. So when you say, hey, let's hang out together, follow me on social media. In fact, jump in, give me a message, say hello, abide by whatever rules the stage owner has put into place for you. But if you only get to do a call to action for following on social media, or even if you can't, do that soft of a call to action. Make sure that first post on social media is your giveaway and a way for people to come and get your stuff and give you their email. We'll talk more about that deep within that section there. So step 5 is up next, sales. This is where a lot of people choke because there's a lot of people who have a hissy fit when it comes to sales. Trust me, I used to be there. So here's where your message turns into money. This is where the rubber hits the road. If you already have a product, you can sell the product to the leads that you collected from the stage. Even if your product is somebody else's, maybe you would do an affiliate. That's wonderful. A great way to get revenue. If you don't have a product, you can easily start with one-on-one coaching. You can sell your time. Next step, step 6, fulfillment. You might be surprised. Maybe you're not. If you're not surprised, it's because you have bought something and then not gotten the fulfillment on it, which sucks. I want your fulfillment to be in place. If you promise to give a course away, you got to give that course in their email, deliver it right away. If you promise to have one-on-ones, you got to have that scheduled on your calendar and give it away. Make sure you're guys, give what you promised. Give what people paid for. This sounds like a very simple principle, but you and I both know where people have given money and then not gotten what they wanted in return. It doesn't work. It's a recipe for disaster in your business. Don't do that. Don't make that mistake. Make sure your fulfillment is set up. And a lot of this is where automation comes in. Step number 7, build out your value ladder. So once you've serviced, this is important, once you've given help to about 10 to 12 clients, you got to pay attention to what they're saying, pay attention to what questions they're asking, and then if you ever get asked the same question twice, this is your clue. This becomes another ebook, or it becomes a mini course, or it becomes a module. If you ever get asked the same question twice, there's another profit center for you. So this is where you can flesh out and build your value ladder. Step number 8, scaling. Now, for most of you, that's going to mean getting on more stages and just repeating that part of it and repeating that part of the process that works. Apply to be on podcasts. You can start your own podcast. You can ask hosts and podcast hosts and stage hosts to refer you to other stages. Deliver your message over and over and over again. Feed your growing audience through your email nurturing. Feed them through your communities that you've built. Feed this audience, nurture them. You want to make sure every piece of your content you produce, again, this is where you're growing on social media. So every piece of content you're producing in terms of maybe a course or an ebook, screenshot it, throw it on social. Deliver it, give it away. And if you have a hiccup about how do I feel good about giving away everything, I promise you, you can't give it all away. Even if you try, you can't give it all away, because here's what's happening. You're digesting stuff as a consumer 1 minute at a time on social media. I probably watched 50 reels this morning, and that's sub 60-second pieces of content from 50 different people. And if one of them resonates with me, I'm going to want to go deeper with that influencer. I want to spend more time with that person. The reason that people pay for things is they want to collapse time. They want to make more money faster. They want to have this knowledge sooner. And they pay for things when you can put that all in one place for them. And then they can go through it piece by piece by piece, just like buying a college degree. People buy college degrees left and right because even though all the information is available on YouTube, it's not in a focused format. And people pay for that focus. So don't worry about giving it all away. You can't get it all away, but you should try. Number 9, introduce automation. This is where it gets really fun. You guys, this is where you get some of your time back. Take your lowest revenue generating activity, that thing that you have to do every day and that you don't get paid for, and farm it out. Outsource it to a VA or automate the action if you have a CRM. If you don't have a CRM, that's fine. You can still trigger some kinds of automation. You can use a lot of tech to do this. You can use a lot of AI to do this. There are automations that exist that don't require you to put money in. But the more money that you put into the right automation, the more time you're going to save. So again, you can do all of these 11 steps without investing $1. But if you're going to invest $1, this is where you should start. I hire VAs to do things for me all the time. I'm going to give you a tip. You can follow the link that's in the module description, onlinejobs.ph. This is where we hire people overseas. I got to tell you about Heaven. I hope she sees this video one day. Heaven is our VA. She lives in the Philippines and she does incredible work for us. She's the one that builds a lot of the podcast database. She takes that, scrapes it, and puts it in the database for you. Heaven is the one that helps me build emails. Heaven is the one that helps me organize websites. Heaven is the one that does all of this for me. And I can pay her a competitive wage for the Philippines that's lower than the wage here in the US. So it saves me money as an entrepreneur, but it also provides for someone that wouldn't have otherwise been able to provide for their family. In fact, just a few months ago, we got this message from Heaven. She's like, hey, I need to take a couple weeks off. My parents haven't met my son yet. And thanks to you, I was able to provide enough for a plane ticket to take my son and fly him to meet my parents for the first time. And that feeling was second to none. As an entrepreneur, the feeling of being able to be the one that provides for somebody else. Guys, we have employees that are relying on us. And I love that feeling. I love knowing that we make enough in our business that we provide jobs for other people that need them. And for some of those people, they become the next entrepreneurs. And that is the coolest feeling in the world. Let's look at step 10. Know your numbers. This is the unpretty part. This is the part that people want to ignore. But you got to have this in order for your business to thrive. What are your weekly critical drivers? We'll talk about critical drivers more deeply in that module. These are the daily activities that occur in your business that you and your team members are doing. And these are the things that move the revenue needle. What are your monthly key performance indicators, or KPIs in other words? And these will tell you, are you on track? This will help you patch the holes in your business, which is the next step. Where are your weakest? Where are your weakest conversions? What are the stage that is the least worth it? What are the stage that you need more of because you get more conversions at that stage? Where are you wasting time? Are there bottlenecks in fulfillment? Are people waiting for things? Are your clients complaining? Do your clients complain and then you don't do anything about it? If your client complains or you get 2 complaints of the same variety, that's a hole. Patch it. Now, once you're fully optimized, you're going to circle back to step 3 and repeat the process. Create another ebook. Use that ebook. Convert your audience. Maybe that will get you more stages as well. I've just written a book on this thing. Maybe someone needs you to speak on that and they can't because they don't know they've written the material on it. So this is the sheet. If you need to go back and rewind so you can get a clean screenshot of this, do, because this is the master template. This is the template from which every single module in this course has been created. So get that, go back, screenshot it. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause the video, print this off, post it somewhere in your house, and then put a magnet or a circle or a sticky note, something next to it so that you know what step you are on, and you can move that sticky note to the next step when we circle up and meet again. All right. This is the end of step 1. Are you okay? What just happened over there?
I'll send it to you. You're gonna die. I'm sorry.
Richard just
I'm just living my best life over here, streaming, scrolling Instagram, listening to you talk, and I just it's so funny, it's real.
I wish you could see his face right now.
I'm sorry.
No, this is great.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. This is pick your nose.
I just interrupted the.
So? This is life, bro.
Yeah.
This is the best interruption. We talked about interruptions in our marital one-on-one the other day. Your face right now.
It's so funny.
He's not breathing, you guys. You're turning purple.
It's so good. It's so good.
Thank you to whoever created this content that gave my husband a laughing hernia. Like, I have to wait until I'm done recording to see this because I'm using my phone for other things.
Yep.
You know this, right?
Yep.
This is great. All right, up next, step 1. We're going to the first step, you guys, defining your expertise. So stay tuned for the next module, and we'll see you in just a second. Okay, stop recording. That got into the recording, so
yeah, I know.
You get to
Yeah.
enjoy that moment twice.
Yep.
Okay, going over here. I'm wondering if you could get me some water.
Yeah.
I'm getting cotton mouth over here. How long is our recording segment today?
We're going till 2:00.
Sweet, that's 3 more hours.
Yeah. We have to get this done.
No, I'm fine with that. I just need to be nourished along the way. So let's do this.
You put in good content, keep it up. But while live streaming, you don't look at camera? Oh, okay.
No, we're not looking at the camera during the live stream because we're recording a course.
We're recording something else. Yeah.
That's okay.
Let's see, did anyone else have any
Could you get me some water?
Yes.
And a Fit Crunch bar.
Okay.
Pretty please. No, so you're right. I'm not looking at the camera right now for my live stream because I'm recording the course. But in between takes of recording the course, let's hang out. Let's ask questions. Forgive me, I do have 3 cameras that I'm looking at right now. So if I don't look at you right away, that's why. Ask your questions. Oh my gosh, there goes a tingle in my nose again.
Where are the Fit Crunch bars?
They're in the closet.
Where?
On the floor next to your stuff. Next to the hamper. We have to hide the Fit Crunch bars because our kids eat them like candy because they're so good. And occasionally we do let them have a few, but we use Fit Crunch bars for moments like this when I specifically don't have time to go make a meal and I need to get a bunch of nutrients in. I generally try to avoid things that have barcodes, but if I'm going to, thank you, Robert Irvine. No, I was not paid to do this. But this is my go-to snack. Here's why I love these. Number 1, they did a great job with their marketing. And number 2, I love that it's got a ton of protein. Yeah, 16 grams of protein, 3 grams of sugar, and 190 calories. And I think, someone tell me, are these gluten-free? I know I sound like a crunchy granola person, but I've discovered that the modern day gluten does not agree with me super well. It contains milk, soy, almond, and peanut products. I would hope so. Soy, wheat, tree nut, peanut, and egg products. So, not perfect, but not the worst. I really like the double chocolate ones. Those get me in trouble because I could go crazy on those. Okay.
I don't know where your Stanley is.
Is it in the office?
I look.
Where to put it? So I have a side hobby of farming. And I can't remember if I made a live about this or not. But I am last of 10 kids. And so my mom is older than most people's moms at my age. Because I'm the last. My mom just turned 80. She's a beautiful soul. I am more grateful for her every single day. And when she was in her early 20s, her father passed away. I never got to meet my grandfather. But I read stories about him because they were really good at keeping journals. So if you're not keeping a journal, most of you are because you're logging. Oh, yes, thank you. We're logging our lives on social media, so you're probably keeping a journal that way. But if you're not, please write it down too. In fact, Apple's new journal app is pretty cool for that. So I read my grandfather's journals and stories that were written about him, and I learned that my grandfather actually farmed chickens up in Taylorsville, Utah. And this is not a small chicken hobby farm. We're talking 30,000 chickens in a huge, think Napoleon Dynamite chicken farm. And my mom has memories of going and grabbing. Oh, you're an angel.
No, the barcode.
I know, my barcode. My mom has memories of going and getting eggs, and they would sell the eggs to the supermarket and all of that. I honestly didn't know this until about 2 weeks ago. And I was like, maybe that's why I want chickens all the time. It's in my blood. It's my DNA. My grandfather did this. And then I was like, oh, I also want a cherry tree. Comes from my mom's mom. She had a cherry tree in her backyard. Growing up, I have memories of being 5 years old and sitting under the cherry tree and just eating cherries. My grandmother on my dad's side had a love for roses and raspberries. Guess what I have in my garden? Roses and raspberries. My father, his dad, was a salesman. Guess where I made the most money in my life? Getting good at sales. It is. I'm just realizing this right now. All of these gifts that my grandparents gave me that they didn't mean to. Better eat fast. But I want to answer any questions. Or is there any comments or questions?
Oh, someone sent you a rose.
What?
Maybe 5 roses? Someone sent you 5 roses.
What?
Splash.
Robbie?
Maybe it's the same Splash. I'll send you a product to try. It's an egg protein drink. It's amazing.
Is it muscle milk?
I don't know, but I'm guessing that's Robbie. Splash.
Cool.
Yeah, what's up, man? Trying to see if there's anything else.
I was just talking about roses, and someone sent me a TikTok rose. That is so sweet of you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know what that means.
We'll figure it out. I'm new to TikTok, you guys.
I think it... Oh, did I just close down Instagram? No. Okay, good.
I made that mistake yesterday.
It's still going. Okay, that's still live.
What were you
That's
gonna
still
say?
live. I don't remember now. Anyway, here you go.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, that TikTok roses actually are a monetary gift.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Robbie, that's so cool of you.
Thank you.
We're going to be building an event series for Robbie. That's going to be cool. I'm curious. Is there anyone out there that's watching this? Are you someone that wants to create an event series? Or a retreat series? Or something similar? Because event creation is a blast. It is a challenge, but it is a blast. Almost done. Oh, this is so sweet. Also, any of you out there that are parents, tell me how many kids you have. We have 6 between us. I'm going to put Richard on the spot, too.
What?
If you have questions for Richard right now,
Sure, yeah.
go ahead and ask those. I'm going to brag about him for a second because this is a man who, when we met, literally prayed not just for a wife, but for a family. And to have a man in my life that came in and said, yes, I'm not just going to help you raise these 5 kids, but I'll be their dad. I will probably never know how massive that is because it's been a gift that I've been given that I went through trials to find Richard, don't get me wrong. But I have never remarried someone who didn't take these kids under his wing as his own. And I've never gone through that trial of someone who wasn't willing to take that on. And it's just one of the gifts that God gave me and said, we're going to skip the specific crap wagon that it could have been otherwise and give you this gift. Pretty cool.
Thanks, baby.
I love you.
Love you too.
Almost there. Okay. Want to know something that happened to me this morning? Let me do that sexy eyebrow thing again. So, I'm holding my baby. And I put him down. He went bald and he's walking around. And my daughter, who's 14 years old, she's like, Mom, what's that on your shirt? I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, right there on your shirt. And I looked down, right on my hip, right where the baby was sitting, is a fragrance stain that he left behind.
I blame Josh.
I know! It was
we
just last night.
Haven't had a blowout in I don't know how long. And
I think there's only been 2.
He brings it up, and then bam, it happens.
The next morning.
The next morning.
Blowouts can happen, even if the diapers are the right size. Blowouts can happen if your baby is seated on your hip when they go. Because there's nowhere else to go. So, Richard's like, did you throw it away? Your shirt, did you throw it away? I'm like, no, I can wash it.
I would have.
Just wash it. If the stain is still there, like if it doesn't wash out, the color of it, we'll chuck it. It'll wash out. Okay, any other comments?
No.
Sweet. Okay.
Move the core power behind you too.
Thank you. Put that there. Also, as much as I love my husband, I'm about to throw him under the bus.
What'd I do?
Our first date, I had something in my teeth. And you didn't tell me. The entire first date. We made out with something in my teeth and you didn't tell me.
Most men would have. Okay. For one. And for two, that was after you were 25 minutes late to the date.
That's true.
So
kudos to you for sticking around.
You wanna throw some shade.
No, let's both get under the bus. Let's just change the oil while we're under here, babe. I was 25 minutes. I was impressed that you stuck around.
I wasn't about to just bail.
That would have been really sad. If all the beautiful things that we live and enjoy right now could have been gone. Never happened
if I didn't have patience.
Yeah.
Listen, first of all, I had patience enough for that. Second of all, I have enough experience with women to know they're always 20 minutes late. So that was expected.
Not usually how I do that,
Not
though.
surprising. And
I'm not
third,
usually 20 minutes late.
And third, you're hot. I was gonna wait. Anyway.
Oh. Did it help that we met before the actual first date so you actually didn't get like catfished or something?
Oh yeah, I knew what I was waiting for.
Let's keep this live stream G-rated.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, on that note, though, I need to know if there's something in my teeth.
What? Oh, you need to know if there's anything in your teeth. Oh, let's see. You're good.
You sure?
Yeah, you're
You
good.
look like you were questioning it after you said something.
They're little tiny, but I can't see them from here, so you're good.
Oh, okay. All right, module 2.
Start recording.
I will.
Don't forget to hit the record button.
That would be really sad if I forgot. Okay, I actually have to go and take a look at these slides before I get started. Here we go. This is going to be a good one. They're all good ones. I could say I'm particularly excited about all of them because I'm not going to produce anything that I don't get excited about. I used to do that. It sucked. Okay. Let's make this in presentation mode. We have to come back over here. I can feel the thing in my teeth. Let's do this. Slide plus camera. All right, welcome to module 1. We're talking about step 1, defining your expertise. This is where it gets super fun. We're going to talk about how to define your expertise, not only in the way that is very clear to you, but most importantly, very clear to your audience. Because if your audience doesn't know what you're good at, then they're not going to come find you. They won't come knocking down your door and they won't ask you to have a product or a one-on-one discovery session or do any business with you whatsoever. So let's get right into it. I have to go click over here. So we are here in the modules, step 1, defining your expertise. So if you're, keeping that little magnet with you and tracking it, this is where we're at right now. Define your expertise. What are you good at? What could you teach with no notice? What do you enjoy doing and have experience in? Let's get really deep into this specific module. Number 1, how to define your expertise. So I want to teach you about a principle called ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese term used to reference this quote-unquote sweet spot where you can live your passion and make money at the same time. I first learned about Ikigai in a Netflix documentary called The Blue Zones. Now they called these blue zones because they used the blue dot to dot the planet where they found people that were called centurions. Not sure how it's pronounced. You'll see in the show. But these people have lived past 100 or lived to 100. And they're interviewing all these people and saying, what made it so you could live to be 100? And in Japan, they use this term ikigai to represent living a joyful life. Tony Robbins, in his book, Life Force, talks about how to live a healthy life, specifically in your body, what makes your cells tick and how you regenerate them and what is regenerative medicine. And at the end of the book, after he goes through all of these things that can help you live longer, he said, paraphrasing here, if you don't want to live longer because you're not enjoying your life, then this book is entirely useless. Live a life that you love and that you enjoy. So let's get right into it. I want you to journal the following. I'm going to have this up. You can pause this video when it comes time to journal so you can look at these questions. These are what I want you to do. These questions leave clues, okay? Number 1, what are my 3 favorite memories? When I go back in time, what are my 3 favorite memories? Write a few sentences on that. Number 2, what do these memories have in common? Number 3, what did you love to do as a kid? What brought you so much joy? Number 4, what would you do if you have a month and unlimited resources, 30 days to yourself? Where do you find fulfillment? What are you doing when you feel fulfilled? If I had to speak for 30 minutes with no preparation, what would I talk about? It's a question for yourself. What could I talk about for 30 minutes with no notice? Here's some more questions. What are 3 things that your friends tell you you're good at? What are 3 things that you believe you're good at? What do you want to know more about? Like, what do you look up on YouTube? And if you go to the library, what are you reading about? What makes you angry? Why does that make you angry? What's this injustice that gets you fired up? What pain would you like to help others avoid? What do you want to help people skip past? Where do I already have a track record? And by the way, Pause it right here and journal all of these before you go to the next one. What are you proud of? What's on your bucket list? What are the things that you want to end up doing? What has been your favorite job historically, or if you're doing it now, and why? Who do you look up to, and why do you look up to them? What do you want to be said about you at your funeral? Again, pause these, journal, and then come back and let's get to the next step. Here is your Ikigai. There's a beautiful graphic here of how this actually works. When we talked about that sweet spot, it's right in the middle there. Now there's these circles. The top circle is what do I love? On the side, you've got what am I good at? On the bottom, what can I get paid for? And on the other side, what does the world need? Now you can see where these sections overlap. What do I love and what am I good at? That's my passion. What am I good at and what can I get paid for? That's my profession. What do I get paid for and what does the world need? That's my vocation. And what does the world need combined with what do I love? That's my mission. When you have all of these things overlapping in the very center, you have what's called your Ikigai. This is the sweet spot where what you love, what you're good at, and what makes money and what the world needs, it converges. This is where beautiful businesses are built. So let's take a deeper look at this. And if you're watching online, think about this as well. I want you to journal the following. Again, once you've got these, you're going to answer a ton of questions in your journals. And by the way, share in our school community when you have a gold nugget. Remember this gold nugget right here. Share in the school community when you have this, and we can dissect it together. If you need feedback from other people that you know, like, and trust, the community is perfect for that. So journal these questions. What am I good at? Write a few things down. What do I love? Write a few things down, because when you have what you're good at and what you love, this is your passion. Then answer that question. So pause here, journal that, and then let's come back. Next section, what can I get paid for? Journal that. What am I good at? Journal that. When you have those two put together, this is your profession. Again, answer that question in your journal. Now I want to take a look at what the difference between a profession and a vocation is. A profession is a job in which a person has highly specialized training and expertise where they get paid to perform a specific task. The difference between a profession and a vocation. A vocation is a calling in which a non-expert is focused on doing a particular kind of work, either as a volunteer or as an employee. So those are the differences between a profession and a calling. So pause this right now and answer those questions. All right, here's your next set of journal entries. Lots of journaling in this one. What does the world need? And then answer this question, what can I get paid for? That is your vocation. Remember the difference between a profession and a vocation right here. You can take a look at that. Pause it here if you need to. Now take a look at these, journal them, and then come back to the module for the last set of questions. What do I love? And what does the world need? Remember, you've already journaled a couple of these. When you have those together, you have what is my mission? Take a moment, pause this, and journal the following answers. Now, once you've done the journaling, I want you to take the answers to these 4 questions and put them all in the same section. Put them on a separate clean sheet of paper. What is my passion? What is my mission? What is my vocation? And what is my profession? Now that you've got all 4 of those, I want you to condense those down into one simple answer. A simple way to finish this statement. My Ikigai is. And then fill this in. My Ikigai is. This is something that you don't have to get a tattoo, but if you're going to get a tattoo of anything, this is going to be it. This is my Ikigai. Now, here's my expertise. I've got over 25 years of speaking experience. In fact, I should update this to say 33 years of speaking experience. This is my track record, right? When I started taking notes and said, what am I really good at already? This is what I came up with. I took a company and I 10x their revenue within 3 years. We tripled within 3 months and we 10x within 3 years. That represents over $53 million in company revenue generated. Over 82,000 and counting lives changed, and over 2,000 stages worldwide, all across the globe. These are the numbers. These are the things I can measure that I'm good at. I want you to have your Ikigai, and once you've got it, and you've got it written down, I just want you to go into our school community and make a new post that says, my Ikigai is. Share it with us in the community. And you know what? You might be open to having it picked apart and taking a look at. If there's holes to poke in it, we'll do that for you if you want. But post it in the school group so that we know who you are and what you stand for. Now, up next, we're going to be going into part 2, your value statement. This is going to be the critical section where we teach your audience exactly who you are, how to find you, and this is going to answer the question for them, why should I pay attention to you? Because if you think you're speaking to everyone, nobody can hear you, so stay tuned. I was so relieved to look over and see the stop recording button lit up blue. I just had a mini heart attack.
Me too.
The value statement, this little button where you, like, I gotta be honest, I was afraid to ask if this was possible, but this is the upgrade I needed. I shouldn't have been afraid to ask because I did it in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I could turn it on and off. Do you know how many slides I don't have to reprogram now?
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
My eyes feel like they're getting baked. Will you go get me my blue light glasses?
Where are they?
The bathroom counter.
Okay. You ready for a funny?
Yeah.
You know this Haktua thing?
Oh my gosh. You guys, tell me what you think of this. This Haktua, like, it is so inappropriate.
This
and
guy's
it's going
gonna
viral.
make-
Richard said I should make content with it.
This guy's gonna make so much money. He made a T-shirt.
Did he?
If she don't Haktua, I don't want to talk to her.
I don't know how I feel about that.
There are no glasses over here.
Are they in the top drawer? I can tell by the sound of the glasses in your hand that they are the clear rimmed glasses. You're amazing! I wanted the dark ones. You found them. Oh, okay.
You said you wanted the dark ones. There you go.
Do you want to see my Temu mistake? Look at this. They looked way better online.
It's Temu.
I'm sorry, but your company pronounces it wrong, Temu. All of your consumers say Temu. You okay? Did you just lose a pinky toe? They do look better on camera. You okay? Did you lose a pinky toe?
No, but I caught a hangnail on the couch.
Ouch. Okay, so this is my Temu mistake. But don't worry, I'm only out $12. No, I'm only out $3 for 3 pairs. This is my other Temu mistake. These look terrible.
Yeah, and those were the ones you tried to convince me to wear.
No, on me they look terrible.
But on me they look okay.
They look better on you than they do on me.
No.
That they don't look fabulous on you. The pair that you actually wear from this
You
group.
do have something in your teeth.
What is that in there?
I don't know, but let's see. Yeah, it's at the very top on the left middle one. Yep. Nope. Other direction. No. Same tooth. There you go. You got it. You're good.
Was it there the whole time?
I don't know. It was small enough. It's not going to matter. But
Thank you for telling me. Okay,
Yep.
so that's mistake number 1. These are mistake number 2. Wait, already. These are the better of the 2.
The purple ones?
No, the purple ones suck. For me. You might like them. Maybe they look good on you, but they are not for me. Okay, so that's not what I need right now. And then, these are my blue light special that I love. Want to do these ones or do you want to do these ones? Let's see. We got the white or the clear. And then we got the tortoise shell, which is my favorite. Sorry about the gaff tape. Someone was asking about what gaff tape was the other day. And I said it's like duct tape, but cooler. If you could get cooler than duct tape, that's gaff tape. How you doing, babe?
I'm good. I'm just chilling.
Living your best life over there?
Yeah. Not really anything for me to do other than watch for comments and yeah.
Okay.
Although I learned something new about
Tell
our multi-stream thing.
Oh.
When on the one that's on doing multi-streaming, when someone from YouTube comments or someone from Twitch comments, it both of it goes into the comment thread. I can see both.
Oh, nice.
Which is kind of cool. So
It's nifty.
I don't know if it works that same way for the other platforms, but here's the other thing. I wonder if anyway. I don't know.
What's the platform you're using for multi-stream again?
Stream Deck. Yeah, Stream Deck.
Good to know for those of you that want to multi-stream. Okay. Okay, we're gonna put those there. And then our next section.
But not all the comments are coming through.
Are there more online?
I just joined in on YouTube just to check it out, and Paris left a comment, but that's not showing up.
Oh shoot, that slide. I thought I edited that slide. Looks weird. Show layers. My slide decks are so big that sometimes the slides look a little goofy. The file is so big. All right, let's hit record again. We ready, friends?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, we are in Module 1, Part 2. It might be Part 3.
The next one in Module 1.
Okay. Welcome back. We are in Step 1, Defining Your Expertise. Let's go deeper. Now that we've looked at the Ikigai, we're going to talk about exactly how to speak so that your customers know, like, and understand you so they can understand if they are your people or not. So here's a zoom in on Step 1. We are in the section of defining your expertise. You've seen this already. Here's how to do this. Your value statement. This is what is formerly known as the elevator pitch. The value statement tells your audience. And let me say that again. Couldn't read backwards on allow. That was a toughie. Now, formerly known as the elevator pitch, your value statements tell your audience who you are and whether or not they should do business with you. The reason I changed this from elevator pitch to value statements because when I polled the audience, I said, how many of you are in love with elevators? Nobody raised their hand. I actually did have one guy raise his hand. I had a conversation with him after. But how many of you like being pitched? Nobody raised their hand. So I don't like the term elevator pitch. It's people know what it is. It's the short version of why you should do business together, but it's my value statement. I'm going to share value with you and you're going to see whether or not we should do business together. So that's what the value statement is. So you're going to want to take notes. Pause the video when you need to get your value statement out. And of course, in the school community, share your insights, share your value statements, and let's workshop this together. Because chances are you're probably watching this in your home. You're probably watching this on maybe your lunch break, and you don't have your community around you to give you feedback. And the best way to grow is to get instant feedback. So I threw up a caution right here. If you think your message is for everyone, no one will hear you. I have worked and tooled this with client after client after client, person after person after person. And typically, people are so afraid to niche down that they have this broad blanket that they throw out to the world, and then people don't know if it applies to them or not. I saw a really beautiful example of this. If you're a party planner, I help people plan parties. Isn't as specific or helpful as I help people plan children's parties on a budget. Now, my audience can hear me. The parents that are planning parties for their kids can hear me. They know that I'm good for them. So if I'm a party planner, that's not so great. But if I'm a party planner that helps parents plan parties for their kids on a budget, now I've got your attention. So this is why your value statement needs to be tooled. And if you need to hone down and niche down, this is a common word or phrase that you hear, niche or niche down to your audience, find those people that will hear you. I have literally had this happen to me where I am niched down and so specific, my people find me. This is what makes my community so interactive, because people know that I'm here for them specifically. And then what happens after that is people that are not in my niche, they come knocking on my door and they say, hey, I know that you only serve this specific type of people, but I want some help too. Tell me what you would rather have. Would you want people who don't know who you are and can't find you? Or do you want to niche down so specifically that extra people say, hey, I know that you only work with this kind of people, but can you work with me too? I know what you're going to say. That's what you want. Okay, so this is the magic phrase. I've taken this from many pieces of research, many seminars that I've gone to, many instructions that I've heard, and I have created this simple one-sentence phrase. How do you find your audience? This is your value statement, and we're going to tool this together. So again, remember to pause the video, tool this, fill in the blanks, and then come back to it. I help blank who suffer from blank by doing blank. We're going to fill this in. So grab out a sheet of paper and take some notes on this. All right, let's hit this up. Hold on, I accidentally pressed the wrong button on here and it stopped the recording. Okay. It still gave me a stop button. I was trying to advance to the next slide. And I'm having a mini heart attack right now because I know I hit that button and I know the recording stopped, but I'm like, did I get the first section? And I don't know.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. And if we need to re-record, we will. Should put some tape of those. You know how people tape their grandmother's TV remotes because they don't want their grandmas to break the TV? I think I'm in that category now.
What? I didn't know you were still talking to me. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said, do you know how people like tape their grandmother's TV remotes
Yeah.
so that their grandma doesn't break the TV?
Do you want me to do that?
No, because...
No, I don't need to tape it. Watch this.
What? You take the button away?
Yeah.
Take the button away. Now the button is blank and I don't do anything and I can't break it. You put digital tape over the button, you guys.
You're still recording, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That was good. All right, step one. Who do I serve? Let's work on that first blank in the sentence. I need to go over here and click on this. Here we go. Who do I serve? Let's find out who I serve. Now, there's more journaling to be had. Now, trust me, journaling is probably the unpretty part, one of the many unpretty parts of business, but this is the unpretty part that makes the pretty part actually effective. So I'm going to read these questions to you, and then you're going to journal them while the video is paused, and then you're going to come back when you're done, once you have more clarity on this. Again, when you have this, I want you to go into the school community and share. What is your answer? What are your answers to these questions? So check this out. First question, who was I 5 years ago? What was I like? What was I struggling with? What was I going through? Where in life was I? Was I in a job? Was I an entrepreneur? Was I working for myself? Was I successful? Was I not successful? Where was I 5 years ago and how was I worse off than I am now? Second question, do I work with just men or women? Is that something that's important to me? Third question, who do I want to work with? Here's a clue for you. If you want to work with people who can pay for your programs, then that needs to be part of your demographic. If you're targeting people that can't afford your programs, that's obviously going to be a problem for your business. So you want to work with people who can afford what you have to offer. Can my target audience afford my programs? Yes, that's the very next question. What are the interests of my audience? Now, this is important, not only when it comes time to what are they interested in terms of business and what you have to offer, but also important in terms of what do they like to do on the weekends? What kind of cars do they buy? And the reason that's important is when you get into the portion where you're doing paid marketing, you can target people with those kinds of interests. So if your client is interested in Lamborghini or they drive Audi and they're at that level, great. If they like seminars, if they like personal development, if they like pickleball, you can target those people with your marketing dollars using those specific keywords. Where does my audience spend their time? Are they working? Are they vacationing? What are they doing? What is important to my audience? What are the values? Is family important to them? Is marriage important to them? Are politics important to them? What's important to my audience? What do they talk to their friends about? Again, not only helpful for communicating to them, but also helps with keyword marketing when it's time to do that. So take a moment, journal that, and then when you're ready, let's come back to this page. When you're done, you have the answer to the question, who do I serve? Right? So in my example, I serve industry experts, people who have an expertise in an industry. These might be CEOs. They could be an industry expert who's been working in their specific industry for 20 years. If they tell themselves, I'm an expert in this industry, that's who I want to work with. So I'm revealing my value statement with you as you do yours. So maybe yours is I work with entrepreneurial parents, or maybe yours is I work with truck drivers, or I work with dance instructors, or I work with CEOs, or I work with blue collar experts, or I work with other business owners in the carpet paint and tile industry. Could be any one of those demographics. I work with men. I work with dads. It could be anyone. But get specific on this. And here's a key for you. Once you have the statement done, I want you to write it on a sticky note, do what I've done, and sticky note it to your monitor. So that every time you create a Facebook post, every time you create an Instagram reel, every time you post a TikTok, you are speaking specifically to these individuals. This is a reminder of who you are and what you do with every single post. So now that you have that, let's go to the next question. We're going to interrogate this next statement and we're going to do some more journaling. So what are they struggling with? Use their words, by the way. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. This is the bottom of the pool. You will hear me use this analogy quite often. When you have developed a certain level of expertise, it is easy to forget what it was like when it was hard. The whole reason we are experts and coaches is because we are not at the bottom of the pool anymore. But our clients are at the bottom of the pool. They're struggling. And unless we use their language, they won't know they have found us. So what do I mean when I say that? I want the client to use the language. I want to use the client that I want to use the language that my client is using with their friends. I want to know what they say to their friends when they're complaining. I want to know what they say to their friends over dinner. I want to know what they complain to their spouse with. I want to know what are they saying? If I'm a truck driver and say, oh, I'm so tired of driving in the truck. My back always hurts all the time. I feel like I can't even move. Or maybe you're speaking to expert painters and you're saying, gosh, they never feel like they have enough money. They're always saying to their friends, I can't get another customer. I can't seem to find my people. I can't seem to get enough revenue. Maybe they're business owners and their businesses are falling apart all around them. And they say, I just need more revenue. I need more cash. I need more customers. I need more capital. Maybe they're dog walkers and they always have their dogs fighting. And they're like, every time I take the dogs out, there's this one dog that is terrible with all the rest. And I can't seem to get them to calm down. So whatever they're struggling with is exactly what you want to put in your value statement. So in mine, I help industry experts who suffer from feeling invisible. Their clients can't find them. So let's go to the next portion of the value statement. Buy. This is how do I help them? This is the last blank in your value statement. Guys, when you're done with this goes in your bio. This goes in your literature. This becomes a sticky note on your monitor that fuels everything. It's such a beautiful, simple, strong foundation for everything that you produce. And when you introduce yourselves to people, not plural, when you introduce yourself to people, this is what you say when you shake their hand. This is what I do. Because the person that's on the other side wants to know, what can you do for me? and they want you to answer that question. So the last phrase is, what do I do? How do you do what you do? This is your modality, in other words. Your statement, you're going to share this modality. This is the answer to the question in the client's mind. What's in it for me? So let's check this out. We're going to journal some more here, friends. For example, if your modality is breath work, you would say something like, by teaching them how to heal using their own breath, or by bringing them healing through conscious breathing. So practice some of these phrases and let's tool this. Again, more journaling here. After I get done with this slide, I want you to pause and write this stuff down. And I prefer that you write it instead of type it. What do your clients say to their friends behind closed doors? What do their prayers sound like? What do they search for online? How do they describe life when they feel stuck? Okay, this is going to help you fill in those blanks. If you need to go and retool that second blank, this is the prompts to help you do that. Okay, now that you're back, we've got your value statement with all 3 blanks filled in. I help, and again, this is my example, I help industry experts who suffer from feeling invisible by putting them on stage. Very simple. If you're an industry expert and you hear that, you're like, oh my gosh, she can help me be seen and help me get on stages. Perfect. That's what I want. So when you're done with this, I want you to go into the school community and post your value statements so that we understand who you are and what you do. And if you're open to feedback, say so, because you might be thinking that you're clear, but you're not actually clear in your value statement because your audience is confused. And remember, a confused mind does not buy, whether it's a product or an idea. So let's create absolute clarity. Okay, once you have your value statement, again, this goes on a sticky note on your screen, right on your laptop, digitally on your phone if you want. You can put it in your bio. You also put it on forefront of your mind before you post anywhere on social media. What am I doing? How am I doing it? And who am I looking for? This is how hooks are designed. If you see these cool things that are like, oh, I made this really cool list of hooks, it's because they understand their audience well enough that they're answering what the client is suffering from. Not getting enough views? Try this. You guys have seen masterful hooks. The reason these are created and the reason they work so well is because this is understood by the creator of the hooks. All right, this wraps up this into step 2, our next module. Now we're going to talk about your signature presentation. This is going to be exciting. So make sure you get those journals in, go to the school community, and stay tuned. We'll see you in the next module. Stop recording. Any comments that we need to respond to? Getting caught in math again.
Let's see here.
Are you guys having fun? I'm having a blast.
No, nothing there. No comments. People are just enjoying it, I think.
Cool. I'm gonna run to the bathroom. I'll be back. I'm wearing shorts, so I have to peel myself off the seat. Ladies, you know what it's like. Summertime plus leather seats or plastic. Okay.
I'll come entertain the live video.
The Richard Q&A.
What's up, guys? I don't like this seat very much. This is Marianne's seat. Okay, so just in case any of you care, how we're doing this whole setup. So I'm a big fan of small rig cages. So I've got a small rig cage hooked up to another small rig cage, holding up a couple of phones. For the live stream, just because I didn't quite trust that Streamlabs was streaming to TikTok last time I did and then tested it, it didn't look like it was actually working, so I've got some more testing to do there. And then streaming on Instagram with Streamlabs is a pain in the butt. Instagram, fix that. It's not cool. It's not easy. You don't make it easy. How else are we doing this? Okay, so how she's switching between the camera and the slides and all that. We got an Elgato Stream Deck. So you can program these buttons to do whatever you want. It's kind of nice. So program the buttons. We also are using OBS Studio to create different scenes that have the camera view, the slides in the camera, and then just the slides. And then created hotkeys to switch between the scenes, and then program those hotkeys on the Elgato Stream Deck. Shout out to Halvey, who
What's up?
didn't directly teach me how to do this, but I was watching, bro. I was watching. And then, yeah, I got the way that we're doing the teleprompter while we're doing all the recording locally on the laptop using OBS Studio. I also have a Zoom meeting running, and that Zoom meeting is hooked up to an iPad that is showing on the teleprompter, so she's able to look straight ahead at the teleprompter, which has the camera behind it that's feeding to the computer to be recorded, but we're not using Zoom to record. For something high quality like this, don't use Zoom. What else? Just some things that I had to figure out the hard way. It's way easier to be able to switch between the scenes of the slides and the camera and all that if you have a second monitor attached. And then the slides scene is just the second monitor. It just makes it way easier than trying to fight with it. Yeah, OBS Studio for the win. We might end up doing a mini course on how to do all of this.
I kind of feel like we should.
Yeah.
I have a template for webinars. That's a drop-in template.
Yeah.
You can drop in your pictures and content and stuff.
In a webinar, we used a lot of this same setup for the webinar. So, but for the webinar, we did do it with Zoom rather than OBS. OBS Studio is using the virtual camera to then broadcast the scenes that we were switching between to Zoom, and then we were able to do that. So the camera we're using is a Sony A6400. We're using a Camlink 4K to be able to stream the camera straight into the computer, so that the computer sees the actual Sony professional camera as an external webcam.
We should put links to all of this stuff
in the little mini course that we'll eventually do.
You know what I can do too is if you send me the links to the stuff, I can put it in my Instagram stories.
Sure, we can do that too.
That way it's out before the mini course is done.
So,
I'm almost done.
and then yeah.
See if you got questions.
Another mini course that we'll do is going to be around.
Oh, thanks, Nick.
Another mini course that we'll do is going to be around how to actually deliver your ebook via a QR code using automation. So
that's the one that
that's the one that people need, because the whole point of the ebook, right? We've talked a lot about the ebook being a great lead gen tool,
and it is.
Like posting to Facebook groups and stuff like that, and it is. But honestly, the whole reason, the main point of having your ebook in the first place is so that when you get on stage, you have a way to be able to collect leads from the audience. Because let's be honest, most of the time when you get on stage, it's going to be somebody else's stage. And you're probably... Huh?
That's what you want.
Yeah, you want to be on other people's stages because that's going to help you grow your audience, right? You get in front of new people. But if you're on someone else's stage full of a room of people who don't know who you are, how do you get their email addresses and their phone number? It's with your ebook. You got to give something away. And so walking them through how to do that, get the QR code. But say you're in a room full of 500 people, you don't want to have someone on the back end that has to manually email out this ebook to 500 people. You're going to lose people. You're going to miss people. So automation is the name of the game.
Can I just say why I'm so excited about this ebook? We both got up at 4:30 this morning, called for a little minute, and then we got up at 5:30, and we were like, we have to push out this ebook course.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a $27 ebook course, super affordable, to give this system to you guys, because here's what excites me about it. I tried it, it worked. And then I did it again, and then it worked again. And then I did it again, and it worked again. And then other people started doing it. We had Richard start to do it with his, and it worked just as well. And then I had 1 or 2 other people do it, and it worked just as well. And I was like, oh, we've got something here. We've got something that not only brings in leads, but if you can't handle 50 to 100 new leads, don't do this, because that's what it does.
Yep.
It's awesome. Okay, I think
All right, I'm going to get out of the hot
I'm
seat.
ready. We've got Carrie, what's up? Nakissa, what's up? Emma, Nick, Magic Manga,
We have
hey,
an empty stage.
what's up? Okay, sorry, I'm coming. I was just saying hi, everybody. I want to see their names. Richard's like, number 1 rule in presenting: don't have an empty stage. There's lots of number 1 rules in presenting. Lots.
We've been live for 2 hours. This is great.
Does TikTok give us some kind of a medal for that? Because they should.
I don't know.
On a badge? I got a rose. I gotta figure out what a rose is.
We have 5 roses.
Thanks, guys.
I can set a new goal. I think it's because that was our goal.
Oh, set a new goal.
I'm going to set a new goal. 5 more roses, whatever that means. Oh, description. What will you do if you achieve this goal? Or why do you want to achieve this goal? Because goals are life.
Is that what you said?
I'm going to say that.
I don't, I gotta learn more about TikTok goals.
Yeah, we do.
I'm
But
taking
in the
TikTok's
meantime-
live tutorial, so I'm learning.
In the meantime, that's what we're doing. Because
Okay.
goals are life.
Goals are life.
Confirm.
All right, so
Boom.
I touched something with OBS maybe, and the view is different. Maybe I didn't touch it. I don't know, but it's different.
Fix it.
I got back in the screen is different, so I want to make sure I don't break anything.
OBS Studio. Okay, and then we have to come back over here. Click there. Come back. Oh, we have to hit start recording. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Start recording. Come over here. Click, and then come back. And now your arrows will work.
Beautiful. Welcome to the next module. Okay, wait, I can't start that. I gotta tell them which module it is. This is step 2, part 1. Welcome to the next module. Guess what? We are here. We are ready for the signature presentation. This is a meat and potatoes portion. And again, this is a portion that's going to require a lot of feedback on your part, meaning you got to post in the school community and get live feedback so you can test this out and see what works as much as you can before you get in front of a live audience. Now, when you get in front of a live audience, either it's a digital stage or a physical stage, you're going to be getting live feedback from your audience as well. Take that into account and make your next signature presentation that much better. The reason we call this the signature presentation is because this is what you will become known for. I am known for putting people on stage and helping them monetize their message. That's what my signature presentation is all about. Your signature presentation might be different than mine. Chances are it will be. But this is what you're going to become known for, which is why it's your signature. You want to be able to have a signature presentation where people can say, I heard you speak about this. When are you speaking about this again? Because I have a friend that needs to come hear this. Or I need to hear this again. When are you speaking again? That doesn't mean that you don't get good at speaking about other topics. You can, and you probably should. But your signature presentation is what you build your entire business around. So let's get right into it. My slides are wrong. Let me just get that corrected. Here we go. So let's get right into it. Just a reminder of where, delete that part, please, Richard. Good, that's fluff. Good, that's fluff. That's where I should have started. So, Richard, when you're editing, this is the slide where we start. So let's get right into it. Reminder, this is where we are at in our 11 steps. We're right in the beginning of step 2, your signature presentation. And just a reminder what this is all about. This is a 10-step formula that I have used to develop your signature keynote presentation. This content will go into your ebook, it'll go into your value ladder, and it will become what you are known for. So, guys, another warning. Your message is found in the sharing of it. A lot of times your signature presentation develops over time. When we do our pressure cooker experiences, this is the practice of sharing the message. Think of it this way. If I want to make a piece of pottery, I've got to throw some clay onto the wheel. And then my first time building up the clay, I don't know if any of you have done this where you've actually made some pottery. I went and took myself on a date one time, it was just me. And I went to the kiln over here in Orem, Utah. Guys, if you haven't been there, you should go check it out. But we took this pottery and I threw it on the wheel and I started crafting. I didn't even know what I was going to make. I had an idea that I kind of wanted to make a vase, but I started making it and then the clay wasn't centered on the wheel, so I had to collapse it and start all over. And then I started making this shape and then the walls were too fat and I got out of balance and I had to make them thinner. And then by the time I was done, the clay was talking to me. Not me managing the clay. It was telling me I want to be formed this way and I want to have a little lip right here and I want to have this skinny section right here, and it formed together with me. So the message is the same. When you start delivering your message on stage, it's the first time you do it, it's going to be the messiest, and then you're going to get better at it. And then your message will grow and it will evolve. So don't get too married to what you think it might be right now, because every time you deliver it, you're going to get a little bit better at it. And your message will grow with you. So your message is definitely found in the sharing of it. Let's see. Rich, I don't know why this is not behaving. There we go. Perfect. So here are the 10 steps. I'm going to go back and so we can do that clean transition. Here's the outline of the 10 steps of the signature keynote presentation. Take a screenshot of this if you need to. It'll also be outlined in the book that is accompanying this module. Step number 1 is enrolling questions. You lead out with this to teach your audience how to play with you. Step number 2 is your brief introduction. Right after that, we've got your hero's journey, or this is your origin story, in other words. Step number 4 is your promise. Probably easier than you think it is. Step number 5, 6, and 7 are the pieces of your content. If you're including an exercise, it goes in step 8. Step 9 is your call to action. This is where you're going to sell your book, or you're going to enroll people in your course, or you're going to have people follow you. Step 10 is finish your hero's journey, and then you're finished with your entire presentation. What's cool about this is that it works whether or not you have a half an hour on the stage, or whether you have 45 minutes on the stage, or whether you have 2 minutes on the stage. This works for any length. Let me show you how this is done. All right, Rich. I went to the view where it combines me with the camera, and every time I click that button, it does that.
Oh.
Is that strawberries and Greek yogurt?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I won't eat it all, I promise.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I'm recording. Did I do something that messed that up? We're not even in the right slide deck right now.
I don't know what you did, but I guess if we're on the wrong slide deck, what's the right one?
E. I do that, and then when I hit that button, it gets all janky. Okay. I promise I wasn't gonna eat the whole thing. See?
Can I close this tab?
What happened?
So
Is it something that I did that I can fix?
no.
Oh.
You can't have too many tabs open. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I don't need them.
We're on E,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, that's what it is. Okay,
There you go.
I'm going to do a teeth check.
you're good.
Thank you. Thanks for the strawberries.
Ate all my food.
I can show you what it's like to eat all your food. Okay.
That's gonna have to be quieter.
It is.
Okay.
Clink, 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 clink. All right, let's go back over here. So these are the 10 steps of your signature keynote presentation. We're going to break it down step by step by step, and I'll show you how each one is accomplished. Let's check out step number 1, the enrolling questions. Again, this is where you're going to teach your audience how you want to play together. This is your only chance, by the way. Your only chance to make a first impression happens right now. So if your audience shows up halfway, call them on it in a loving way, of course. But if you want full enrollment, if you want full participation, this is where you teach them how to do it. Chances are, if you're speaking on somebody else's stage, there's been other presenters there, and maybe they're used to playing like the other presenters want them to. Now, that might work for you, but it might work against you if they're not playing all out the way you want them to. So, again, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. You want to enroll the entire room at full energy so they know how to show up with you while you're speaking on stage, when you ask other questions, when you want them to raise their hand. Do they get to bend their elbow? Do they get away with that? In my room, they don't. When people enroll in their enrolling questions with me, this is how I do it. I talk to the audience and I say, how many of you are here to make more money? There's an example of an enrolling question. I'm going to break down the psychology of the enrolling questions for you in just a second. But before I do that, I want to teach you how I get people to play. So when I have the room raise their hand, I say, I'm going to understand how much you mean it by how straight your arm is. And then suddenly people go from this to this. Do I like that? Very much, because it tells them I'm serious. Then I ask another question and I raise my other hand. And if I only get 20, 30% of the room, I'm saying, was my question unclear? Or does the audience just get used to being in a different mode and I want them to play with me in a new way? So if I get 20% enrollment, I'm saying, maybe I'll ask another question like, how many of you are here to learn how to speak from stage? Now, this question is quote unquote risky if I don't know my audience. If it's my audience and I know they're all there to learn how to speak from stage, that I'm getting maximum enrollment because I know that most of them will say yes. Then I say, okay, great, awesome. Now, tell me yes if you want to monetize your message. Now have them raise their hands with my body language and I say, if yes, say yes. Here's what's going to happen. You'll get the members of the room that are used to showing up this way, and they will say yes. And that will represent about 20 to 40% of the audience. 40 is high. What you need to do is lovingly call out the audience in a way that they want to participate. I say, that sounded like a solid 20% of you. How many of you really want to know this? And you dig into another level so you get the entire audience to participate with you. They know you mean it. Okay, so check this out. These are your enrolling questions. This is the psychology of the enrolling questions. Very simple. Your questions should be, first of all, simple. I'm going to show you what to do and what not to do in just a moment. They should be yes answers, meaning your audience wants to say yes when you ask this question. You don't want them to be saying no when you have asked this question. They also should be as inclusive of the room as possible, something that everyone can answer. So here are some examples of what is great and what is not so great. Here's a good example. How many of you, and every time you see HMOY, that's my shorthand version of this, are ready to learn how to leave your 9 to 5? Now again, you're tailoring your question not only to your audience, but to your content. So when it says learn how to leave your 9 to 5, that should be seeding the content that you're going to be teaching later, and it should be relevant to why they are in the room. So you've got to know your event well enough, especially if it's not your event. So again, very simple. it's a yes answer, and it includes a majority of the room. Here's another one. Raise your hand and say yes, getting a deeper call to action here, if you want to know how to get paid to speak. Okay? Very simple. It's very inclusive, and it's a yes answer. Last question. Raise both hands and give me a yeah if you want more freedom. Follows our 3 rules, right? I'm going to go back to these 3 rules so you can see them. It's simple, has a yes answer, and it includes a majority of the audience. Here's some examples of what not to do. Never, never. Here's number 1. Who's here wants to stick it to their boss because you hate your job and want a newer car and didn't like the last paycheck you got? So there's lots of yeses and nos to that question. I do want to stick it to my boss, and I don't like my last paycheck. So this breaks the rule of a couple of things. It breaks the rule of the yes answer because it's confusing. There's lots of pieces to this question. And it also breaks the rule of simplicity. This question is very complicated. It has both yes and no answers. Also, it kind of breaks the rule of inclusivity because not everyone wants to stick it to their boss. And it also kind of throws their bosses under the bus, which I don't typically like to do. I don't want to create a villain out of their employer. So it breaks these rules. Let's take a look at the next question. The next question is, how's everyone doing? Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so lame. This is why they tell you not to start Instagram and TikTok and live with how's everyone doing? It's too rhetorical. You're not going to get a yes answer. This is, first of all, it feels rhetorical, so they won't answer. Second of all, it's not a yes question. This, how are you doing? Yes. No, that's not a thing. And you won't get inclusivity. You can't have people raise their hands for it. So it's simple, but it won't give you a yes answer. That's not what you want. Okay, last example. What does everyone think about the weather today? Guys, it doesn't talk about your content. It doesn't give a yes answer. It doesn't have a simple answer in and of itself. It has nothing to, guys, these are terrible questions. The ones in red, these are examples of never, never, never. Again, in the school community, go ahead and share your 3 enrolling questions and tool them. I have spent entire one-on-one hour-long sessions just tooling and retooling these 3 enrolling questions. That's how important they are. You want to teach your audience to enroll with you. You want to seed your content and make it very simple for them to answer you. So these are your enrolling questions. Again, good examples and bad examples. Let's move on to step number 2 of the signature presentation, your introduction. Hopefully you have an MC. Great events have a great MC. I spent years MCing and making this really easy for other people. But the person who brings you up on stage should have, quote unquote, tooted your horn. They should have bragged about you before they brought you up. If you're going to an event to speak, seek out that MC, get to know them, and sorry, that's creating a hissing sound.
Okay.
You're good. I just don't want it in the recording. Go ahead, just collapse it all. I'll pause for you. Beautiful.
All right.
Perfect. Thanks, babe. All right. So the person that is the MC at the event, again, should have tooted your horn. So when you go to an event and you're sharing on somebody else's stage, find out who is going to be bringing you up on stage, whether it's the host of the event or the MC. Get to know that person, and whether you have 2 minutes, 5 minutes, a half an hour, find some time to carve out and develop a personal relationship with them, so that when they bring you on stage, they can speak to your personal interactions. They'll speak about your appearances on the Today Show, and they'll talk about the millions of dollars that you've made and the multiple big business exits. But the most powerful introduction is a personal introduction. So if you can get to know the MC personally while they're giving all the metrics and cool things, you want them to be able to say, yeah, when I was talking backstage with them, this is what I learned about them, and this is why I'm so excited to introduce them to you. You want that from your MC. So let's check out the rest of your introduction. Even if you don't have an MC, you want to be able to handle this introduction. This is where you say your name and establish your authority, especially when you're brand new starting out. When you're not getting stopped in the airport at least 10 times, you've got to be able to introduce yourself using your name. So don't be afraid to say your name from stage. This will also help people. They're like, oh, I should go look at this person on Instagram. If you say your name, then they're going to go find you. It's important to say your name correctly, though, and not just in pronunciation. If you're saying your name with an upturn, at the end, and it sounds like this. My name is Marianne Hickman. It sounds like a question. And you don't want to be questioning or seeding doubt into who you are. So don't say your name like it's a question. Say your name with authority. Chris Voss calls this the late night FM DJ voice. My name is Marianne Hickman. And I even offer a little pause after that because I want that to hit. So your name is your brand. Say it like you mean it. So let's go back into your introduction. The goal is to answer the question with your introduction, why should they listen to me? So you're going to go in with authority. You're going to go in with confidence. And this section is going to be very brief. Let me give you some examples. My name is Marianne Hickman, and we are here to talk about how to get you paid to speak. How would you like to be able to say that you have spoken on over 2,000 stages worldwide? Raise your hand if you would like that. Powerful, brief introduction. This establishes your credibility while telling the audience a story. Remember, I'm looking at this. How would you like to be able to fill in the blank? And then you're going to combine your expertise with the audience's perspective. That's a great example. Here's a never, never. Hey, guys. I've been on stages all over the world. Guys, I didn't say my name. Because I'm such a good speaker. I know how to make tons of money on stage. Cool. Nice. Some of your audience will be like, neat. But what can you do for me that's missing? Take a look at this. This establishes credibility, but it makes you sound like a jerk. It doesn't connect you with your audience. You want to be connected. One of the primary key rules that I will say over and over, and it deserves the reiteration. When you get on stage, it's no longer about you. It's about your audience. It doesn't matter how good you feel or how crappy you feel on stage. It matters how much you can move the energy of the room. How well are you? Go back, edit that part out. How good are you at moving the energy of the room? How well can you make the audience feel like rock stars? How good are you at creating emotion and creating that energy of the room so that they are different people, better people than when they walked through the doors? That's what it's all about. It's about your people. Don't forget that. All right, let's go ahead and go to step 3. Here's the hero's journey. Now that you've established your credibility, it's time to tell your backstory. Only be willing to talk about the wounds if they have healed. Only be willing to talk about the wounds if they have healed, but also be willing to swim down to the bottom of the pool and rescue those that are drowning. Here's what this means. We've all been through stuff. We all have a beautiful mess in our lives somewhere, but you don't have any credibility unless you've healed those wounds. If you get up on stage and talk about problems just to hit the vent button, guess what? That's selfish. It's all about you at that point. You've probably heard speakers that have done this and you don't get anything from it because they haven't solved the problem yet. They haven't healed the scars. They haven't healed the wounds yet. Everyone in this world, I haven't met a single person in this entire planet of the thousands and thousands of people that I've met that doesn't have an open wound somewhere. I've never met a perfectly healed person. I have open wounds somewhere. Guess what? I'm not talking about those on stage. I'm talking about the suck that I went through, that I figured out, and then brought the solution to you. That's why we are on stage. So if you haven't figured out the solution, it's not time to talk about that yet. And even some wounds that have healed that aren't relevant to your story, those don't get discussed either because it doesn't drive to your audience's goal. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about the bottom of the pool. This hero's journey. This is where you connect with your heart. You're going to paint a picture for the audience. Leverage the depth of your story, which means getting vulnerable on stage. This is where you connect with the individuals of your audience. You're going to use your story to tell their story. Now let's talk about vulnerability for a second. You don't want at the end of your presentation for your audience to come up to you and put their hand on your shoulder and say, I feel so sorry for you. You don't want to elicit pity from your audience. What the goal is to connect on a deep level by allowing yourself to be vulnerable, but not inciting pity. When you can connect with your audience, there are lots of sciences that explain what happens in the brain, but this connects you with them on a neurological level. This allows you to say, come with me. I have the answers. And then they're going with you because they see that you have the solution to their problem. So let's talk about this step 3 in terms of examples. As amazing it has been to travel the world and be on stages, it didn't always start that way. I'm going back to the beginning. If you had met me 10 years ago, you wouldn't recognize me, the overwhelmed mom who stayed up late at night, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Now I'm connecting. This is just a very condensed example. The real 30 to 45 minute presentation would spend more time in this area. But even if I were doing the value statement, if I'm in an elevator with someone, right, the elevator pitch moment, this would be acceptable. It would be presentable. My days are filled with hustle and busy. You know the feeling, right? Again, getting a state change in the audience. We're going to talk more about state changes later. You've been spinning your wheels, always doing something productive, but never making any progress. And at this point, I would bring in a state change and say, how many of you know what this is like? I'm getting a yes answer to a negative question. I'm also not making the audience incriminate themselves. I don't want to ask a question where they're like, how many of you feel this right now? How many of you feel stuck right now? I'm not ready for that question yet. I might be later, but I don't want to make the audience feel bad unless I can solve the stuff I'm bringing up in that moment, right? So I can safely say, how many of you know what the suck feels like? How many of you have people in your universe and you watch this happen? So these are yes questions. These enrolling questions that I started off the presentation with, I'm going to use the same psychology throughout the entire presentation to talk about how I get them to the next step. I'm going to ask questions. These are called state changes. Again, I'm going to be using these throughout my presentation to bring people where I want them in this sequence. All right. So let's go to the next one. Step 4 is your promise. At the bottom of the pool, again, we're using the hero's journey to step down to that sucky moment in your life where you're making a life-altering change and you have a decisive moment. To decide means to cut off. I'm literally severing all other options and I'm bringing the audience to the moment. At the bottom of the pool, if you've delivered powerfully, your audience will be with you, hanging by a thread, literally sitting on the edge of their seats. Watch for that body language. They want to learn how you got out because they're on their way out. They want to get out. This is where you promise to give them what they came for. Now, your promise sounds like this. If I can show you the 3 most important things I learned to go from food stamps to financial freedom, how many of you would want that? Your promise is simply delivering your content. If I can show you how to XYZ, which is your content, in the next 10 minutes or the next 25 minutes, how many of you want that? It doesn't always have to be formed in a question, but it's powerful when you do. And then you just deliver what you came for. Your enrolling questions started to see this. Now it's time to deliver. If I can show you how, that is the beginning sentence that triggers your promise. So take a screenshot of this. We're going to move on to the next step right after we give some examples. Again, offer your promise in the form of an enrolling question that turns it and leads your audience into the content that you're about to deliver. Let's give some examples. What if I could show you the 3 basic building blocks that I use to crawl out from under the weight of hopelessness into the fresh air of financial freedom? Now, this question might sound a little more complicated than our enrolling questions. By the way, that's okay. This is the punch. This is the power time where you're enrolling the audience and they're on the edge of their seats. They've got their pens out. They want to take notes. This tells the audience what you're about to do and enrolls them in your solution. Let's take a look at the bad examples. I promise that this will solve all your problems. Guys, you don't have authority to promise that. You can't fulfill on that. So don't promise something you can't fulfill on. I guarantee that this will be the solution for you. Can you? Can you legitimately guarantee that it's the solution for every single person in the room? Because guys, if you're blowing hot air, your audience is going to feel it and they'll call you on it. And in the back of their mind, they're going to erode trust with you. So don't promise anything that you can't deliver on, especially in that moment. So keep that in mind. Steps 5 through 7. This is your content pieces. Your content should be broken down into a kindergarten level, digestible, immediately actionable steps. The sooner the audience can implement, the better. Don't over-deliver, but don't hold back either. The brain can only handle so much. Limit your content to 4 to 5 bullet points. And honestly, the shorter the better. If I can keep it to 3, that is a magic number. 3 bullet points. If you have a 4th that's absolutely critical, call it a bonus. 5 is really pushing it. It's pushing it. We can't keep all that in our brains, especially within a shorter period of time. So, for example, if I have my 11 steps to monetizing your message in my signature presentation, I'm going to share 3 steps. And I might even share a bonus, but I'm going to limit it to 3 steps. Then at the end of my presentation, check this out, my call to action, I will say, guys, I gave you 3 steps today. If you take this and do this, it will work for you. But in reality, there's 11 steps. And I want to give you the rest to you. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw up my QR code and I want you to scan it and get the entire 11-step guide. So I'm not holding back anything. So in this slide, when you see that I want to actually not over-deliver, it's because I don't want to complicate things. I don't want to make it crazy hard for them to digest and it seems overwhelming to them for them to take action on it. I'm not going to under-deliver. I'm not going to rip them off. I'm going to make everything available to them. But I want in my time with them to be digestible and actionable in that moment. Let's take a look at this. You want your audience to be able to write down these steps. That's how simple they need to be. They're going to write down and repeat these steps. It's best if each key or block or step has no more than 3 words in the title of the step. This is what they're writing down, and you're going to tell them to write it down as well. Here are some examples. The 3 essential building blocks for building sustainable financial freedom. Write this down. Number 1, mindset mastery. Number 2, sales mastery. Number 3, speaking mastery. These are the 3 areas where you need mastery. This tells the audience exactly what to do. You can even have an exercise which with each step. We'll go over that in a later segment. Now here's a poor example. These are the 12 things that you have to know so you can have financial freedom. Write them all down. You just don't have time for that. Even if you have 3 hours, you don't have bandwidth. Not your brain bandwidth, but the client's mental bandwidth. There's no time for this. You want to deliver value, but actionable value. If you try to cram in too much, you're gonna lose them. How many of you have gone to an event and been fire hosed with information and you write it as much down as you can, but you don't implement anything because you don't know what comes first and it feels overwhelming. It's like eating an entire elephant all at once. It's not possible. Let's take a look at step 8. This is where master certification comes in. If you're going to have exercises, I need to certify you in these exercises because these exercises not only have very complex part with actionable audience, you need to be able to direct your audience so they don't mess up. Even something as simple as moving their chairs requires about 3 minutes of exercise, of practice, of telling them what to do 3 separate ways. So I'm going to certify you in these experiential exercises so that you can nail it when you get on stage. This, if you choose to do experiential exercises, is going to be the exact thing that changes you from an informational public speaker to a transformational public speaker. These experiential exercises, some people call them processes, some people call them object lessons, are the things that your clients walk away with and talk about when your presentation is over, the next week after it's done. This is what a lot of times keeps them coming back and say, friends, you got to try this. This is crazy. Check this out. Richard, will you cut out that pause, please? So let's take a look at this. The step in the process, step 8, will take your presentation to the next level. Now, even if you don't do a heavy hitting process that requires props and extra time, your action steps in your content can be very simple and take the place of an exercise, especially if you do have abbreviated time. It requires practice to master these processes, master these experiences. I want you to do it right. This is why I certify you in this. You practice in a room with your peers. Facilitating process is an entirely separate training. We teach these in our intensives where we certify you. I only want to teach you to do this in person. The best way for you to gather your own book of experiences is to attend retreats. Come to my retreats. Go to other mentors' retreats. Attend different events and masterminds where these processes take place. You can also innovate your own. I've done this many times. Develop your own processes and object lessons. Make sure that you have waivers if you need them, signed for these processes, and they have the waivers done in advance and practiced in advance. Some processes don't require you to do waivers. Some do, because there are things that can happen in your audience. I want you to be protected. Well, business insurance is definitely part of that. But there are, imagine going to a ropes course and they didn't have you sign a waiver at the ropes course. You probably wouldn't do it. And they wouldn't want to do it with you because you don't have protection legally, right? So when I went to Bali, they don't have a very strong legal system there. Not everyone has a lot of money there, so there's not a lot to sue over anyway. I'll never forget when we were going parasailing in Bali. What they did is they had us write down our names and the hotel we were staying at on a piece of paper. Then they put a red glove on this hand and a blue glove on this hand. They said the red means pull on this one, the blue means pull on this one. I'm going to have a flag and I'll wave the right color so you pull on the right thing. Go! And they hooked us up to a harness. They took off, and it was like probably 2.5 minutes of instruction. If that were to happen in the United States, they'd be shut down so fast. Guys, that waiver will keep you protected as a business owner. Make sure that you have it in place. Let's move on to step 9. This is the call to action. Now, for some of you, this is the most important part if you're learning to monetize your message. You have given your audience so much value. Congratulations. You've made deep connections and given them breakthroughs. You've taught them how, and they could walk away complete. That is key. I can't underscore this enough. To be able to get to the point before your call to action where they feel full and fulfilled is the key to them moving to the next step, because they trust you to deliver. This call to action, many people will want more. If they loved what you did, they want to experience more of you. Especially if you say, I gave you 3 steps, but there's actually 12, for example. So this call to action should be singular. Just one. You don't get to have multiple calls to action within the same signature presentation. Why? Because a confused mind doesn't buy. And if you give them more than one actionable step, chances are they won't take action on either thing. Your audience wants to be guided to the right next step, not be given, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. They don't know what to do next. Instead of having a yes or no, they've got yes, yes, and no. Now in sales, it's a little bit different. But in a call to action from stage, you have to be very particular and specific with what you want them to do. In your signature presentation, you get one call to action. Your event as a whole, if you want best results, gets a singular paid call to action. Now, there's a difference between a call to action and a paid call to action. Here's some examples. A free CTA. This is something you can do if it's not your event, you're on somebody else's stage, or you're not the one selling your product. Number 1, follow me on social. Easy call to action. Number 2, join my free community. You can throw up a QR code for that. Number 3, download a free resource. I'm giving you a book. I'm giving you a 1-page. I'm giving you a questionnaire. I'm giving you access to a database. Number 4, sign up for a free one-on-one or a game plan. They're buying, not necessarily buying, I apologize. They're not buying, but they're exchanging their information for your time. They get to have a free one-on-one with you or some from your team. Here's some examples of paid call to actions. Again, if you're the signature keynote, you're the headliner, you can do a paid call to action. If it's your event, obviously you can do a paid call to action. Number 1, buy a resource. That means get up, go to the back of the room, buy a thing. Number 2, subscribe to a membership. That means you can get on a monthly plan. Number 3, buy a high ticket product. Maybe it's a 5-figure product, 6-figure product. Number 4, make a donation. And the reason I say this is because it works for nonprofits as well. This is the point where you call the audience up and ask, please make a donation, because you've delivered a presentation on how their dollars will move forward. So you can use this for nonprofits as well. So here's what that looks like. After you've done your call to action, you're not finished. You need to do step 10, where you connect back with the heart and finish the hero's journey. The end of the hero's journey is the end of your personal story, but remember to include it in the perspective of the audience. Here's what that looks like. Debrief on what your audience has experienced so far. In fact, you can ask for shares. Help them find their wins by getting some. Then wrap up. This is a key phrase that you can use. This is what puts us in the room together today. This is why I do what I do. This is an important phrase coming up. Just like you, I believe, and then you share what you believe. Here's an example, that the pathway to wealth is walkable for everyone willing to take the steps. Then you have a couple of options. You can simply say thank you and walk off, making sure your MC is there to back you up or someone's there to catch you. Or if your signature presentation has developed its own catchphrase over time, you can have the audience leave on a level 10 energy, rah, rah, jump up, we are limitless, applause, and then you walk off during the applause. So there's a couple options to that. We're going to talk about that in the next section of energy flow. But now we've got through all 10 steps of the signature keynote presentation. Now I've got this picture of an accordion here because we talked briefly a second ago about how to compress this and how to expand this. The 10 steps of the signature presentation. Here's how to adapt for time. So you can expand or collapse your presentation based on the amount of time that you have. This is especially helpful when you are surprised by the clock, either because you didn't have a confidence monitor or you're not a very good judge of time. Here's a word to the wise. Practice your signature presentation. I know that sounds obvious, but I want you to practice with different segmented time blocks. When being surprised by the time could either mean, again, you don't have a confidence monitor, or you look up and they've taken time away, or maybe they've added time because the next speaker is either early or late. So when you're surprised by the time, you need to be able to seamlessly compress and or expand depending on what's happening next in the event. Now, again, another word to the wise. Hang on, I was going to say something and I lost my train of thought. Where'd it go? I'm going to reach out and grab it. It's going to come back to me. Oh, yes. One of the biggest mistakes you can make on stage is actually referencing your time. I really don't like when people say, I'm out of time, because again, that's about the speaker. It's not about the audience. I don't like to talk about how much time I do or I don't have, or if I said, if I had more time, I would talk about this. Well, guess what? You don't. So give me what you got in the time that you've been given. Your audience shouldn't know about how much or how little time you have, or any surprises that happen backstage. If you've been in theater, you know this. You don't want to know about what's going on backstage. If you're involved or have seen any movie production, the people that do their job best backstage do it best when they go unseen. So you want to keep the backstage things backstage. Don't talk about how much or how little time you have. It's kind of tacky. Okay, I'm going to go back. Don't talk about how much or how little time you have. Now, check this out. This is practicing your signature keynote presentation. There's more steps to this. This is what this process really looks like. Number one, you're going to have your first draft of this. Now, this is the only time I will say it's okay to write your signature presentation down, because the moment you step on stage, I will take it away from you. I don't want your phone. I don't want your notes. I don't want any stage notes or cue cards in your hand on stage. Number two, after you get that template written down, this is going to be your first attempt. You're going to jump on stage. You're going to fumble through it. You might get stopped, might be given feedback, and it's going to be the rockiest, ugliest version of your signature keynote. I promise it gets better. Your 100th stage, your 100th signature keynote presentation will be 100 times better than your first one, but you can't get to the 100th one unless you're willing to go through the crappy part of the first one. So get that one out of the way. Number three, you're going to have your success. You went through enough practice. You had your first successful signature keynote presentation. You delivered it in front of an audience, and that deserves to be celebrated. Don't poo-poo on yourself at all. After you rock off that stage, the first thing you say to yourself is, that was amazing. Okay, then you're going to get shaky, because now you're going to be taking your notes away. Not just taking your notes away, but you're going to be taking your support system away. This is an example. So when you're practicing your handwriting, you start off with the dotted lines, right? That's writing your signature keynote down. Number two, you're going to practice over the written lines, over the dotted lines in a backstage group or with a group. Maybe you're in my community and we're practicing this. All right. And then when you have that first time you deliver it, I'm going to take your notes away and you're going to be really shaky again. Okay. After you get successful with your notes, you're going to get shaky because I'm going to take them away. And then you're going to deliver with confidence. In fact, Richard, I want to go back and I want to word that a little bit differently. So we're going to cut back to the introduction to this slide. Let me show you what this looks like with a cool visual. This is a visual representation of what it looks like to develop your signature keynote. You can see all of these dotted lines and practicing handwriting. This is literally how we develop your signature. So step number 1 is your first template. This is the only time that I want you to write down your signature presentation. Big brain dump. You've got the 10 steps. You're going to formulate all of this, brain dump, and then write it down in the 10 steps in that formula. And then you're going to start practicing with the notes in your hand. This is you writing on top of the dotted lines. Then eventually you're going to ditch the script. You're going to get so good, number 3, with the script that you're going to not use it anymore. And then we take the script away in step 4. You get a little shaky because you don't have your training wheels on, but then you find your rhythm and you start with number 5, delivering with confidence. Then you're going to introduce your X factor into this. This is what makes it from a standard presentation that anyone could give, like a textbook that anyone could read, into your signature keynote. You're going to introduce your X factor, and then you're going to practice with your X factor. Attempt it with your X factor. You're going to have success with your X factor, and then you're going to go through 9 trial and error. What phrases worked, what didn't work. Jerry Seinfeld is famous for this. Before he became excellent on stage, he would practice in front of audiences, and he would practice jokes. When the audience didn't laugh, he wouldn't repeat them. This is your 9, trial and error, and eventually you do this enough to where you get number 10, your signature keynote presentation that is as unique to you as your actual physical signature is. This is what keeps people coming back to you. This is your John Hancock. This is what makes you famous. Your signature keynote presentation. Anyone that you've ever heard on stage went through this. Tony Robbins went through this. Mel Robbins went through this. John F. Kennedy went through this. Martin Luther King Jr. went through this. Anyone that has ever delivered a signature keynote presentation, guarantee you, went through this process. So screenshot this if you need to. Take a look at this. And when you feel like it's sucking, know that you're just in a phase where it's supposed to, by definition. And that's okay. Now, next step. Practice your signature keynote. This is where my pressure cooker really comes into play. If you want preparation for your signature keynote presentation, you need to have what I call the pressure cooker experience. This is available in one-on-one. It's available in a group. It's digital, in person. This pressure cooker is the single most important factor in mastering your signature keynote presentation in a way that converts your audience. Get that pressure cooker session booked. The description will have all the links in order for you to do that. But you need to practice in front of someone who has mastered their signature keynote. Practice with me. Get that book today so we can practice your signature keynote with the pressure cooker experience. And I got to tell you, let me tell you what this is like. In your pressure cooker experience, you're going to deliver your signature keynote presentation, and I'm going to take your notes away. And I'm going to put you on stage, and you don't get to talk about the PowerPoints that break. You don't get to talk about the slides not working. You don't get to talk about the marker that runs out of ink. You don't get to talk about people and whatever's going on backstage and all of the technical things. This is the moment where you stand and deliver for your audience. And when you do this, I'm going to be using this 10-step signature keynote blueprint. I'm going to be writing down notes. And anytime you deviate off the course that converts, I'm going to stop you, and you're going to stop and rehearse it and fix it in the moment, the live instantaneous feedback. Imagine you're driving a car, or maybe like me, you like to fly airplanes, and you get a mistake. You make a mistake, and your instructor doesn't correct you. If you're in a car, that could be an instant life or death situation. If you're in an airplane, it could mean you run out of fuel before you reach your destination because you got off course. If you don't get instant feedback, then you don't make instant changes for improvement. And it is hard. I guarantee you, it is hard. There are tears that have happened during this, but this is the magic moment in which the diamond is formed. That's why I call it the pressure cooker. So if you want a signature keynote presentation that converts your audience, creates life-changing impact, and then pays you and enables you to continue doing this and growing your business, book that call. All right, friends, so here's what's next. We've talked about your signature presentation. Next is stage geography. We are going to cover exactly the movements on stage, what they mean, and how to transition seamlessly from one to the next. So, see you in the next module. Woo-wee! I'm gonna come see your comments. And any questions? That's gonna require me to come around back to where all the phones are. So y'all are gonna see, an empty stage for a moment while we come say hello. I lost my crew a moment ago. Let's see, we got Official Freddy, we got Jaden, Mehrab, Coxie, Brian Rand. Dude, what's up? Lacey, we got Paris. We've got Hood, Dre 17, Sean Taylor, Emma. Okay, beautiful. Seeing some comments come in there. Christy Nelson, Squirrel, Frankie, John McDaniel, what's up? Good to see you. Risk Taker, Amy, Cheyenne, Carrie, Lisa, Soyla, Elaine, Aisha, Isabella, Seuss, Rachel, Chloe. I've got Daryl. Nice. Oh, awesome. Awesome. I'm at the point where Instagram is like, do you want to take a break? Guys, we've been going live for 3 hours now. This is fun. Unlock vault gifts? I don't know. Whoo, boy. If you're liking what you're seeing, let me know. Drop some hearts in the comments. That helps me know I'm on the right track. Next. Oh, I've never had a phone go live so long and not run out of battery. Got the power hookups here. It is 1 o'clock. We've got another hour of filming. After that hour of filming, it is gym time. Now, I've been asking about this for quite a few months now, and I haven't received anything that fits. But I'm wondering, does anyone out there have a clothing line that looks fabulous on camera and on stage? Very professional. And also, I don't have to change before I go to the gym. Because that is a pet peeve of mine, is having to change clothes. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I'm not one of those girls that likes to put on 5-6 outfits and then pick between them. I want to have the same thing that I wear every day and just not think about it like Steve Jobs. Hi.
Hi.
I just had to go back and say hi to all my friends.
Oh, good. I was just on the phone starting another business.
I told
You left me alone too long.
I told you that reel that I made, it's real. What business did you start?
No, I just had my conversation with John about the dog website that we were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So
You almost started another business.
kind of. He's starting a business and I'm going to be helping.
Ooh.
Just a little bit.
Consultant.
Yes. Consult for equity. Anyway.
Awesome. Okay. My throat's starting to hurt.
Yeah.
I need some lozenges for next time we do this.
Okay.
We just got through the signature keynote.
Okay.
The 10 steps. What's next is stage geography.
Okay.
And then after that, we have energy on stage. The little cute little wavelengths graph that I made that I was so proud of. And then after that, it's state changes. I don't know if we're going to get to state changes, because we have 2 more modules to film.
Yeah. And we have 1 hour to go.
Yeah. But we're doing
Right?
so good. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's 1 o'clock. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We are doing exquisite. There are the occasional in-video whoopsies
That's fine.
that
It's going to happen.
it's going to happen. So thank you in advance
Mm-hmm.
for watching every minute of this, probably twice,
More than that.
probably thrice, or more.
Or more.
If there's anything that we need to re-record, just let me know.
Yep.
And
We have another recording day on the books. So
to be honest, if we have a lot of those, I hope we don't, we might need a third just for cleanup day.
Yeah, we might.
So, huzzah! I gotta be honest, guys, I love digital stages. I love digital and physical stages, but I love physical stages way more. Because I get energy from you. I get off on stage a lot of times, and people are like, how do you have the energy to do all that? And I'm like, it rejuvenates me. I've got 700 people jumping up and down with me. That feeds me. Recording in studio, I have found, historically has been more challenging. It's a challenge I embrace, of course.
Yeah.
I used to be really bad at it, guys. If you look at my old YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
Richard doesn't even want to say how bad it is.
Bad.
I should. Do you think I should do critiques of my old YouTube videos?
Wait, what?
On my old YouTube videos, should I do critiques on them?
Maybe eventually. We'll see.
There's some of them that definitely need to be updated, though. My top YouTube video surprised me. Do you know what it is? It's how to delete Facebook Messenger messages.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there are so many people online that are having a panic moment right now when watching that video. If it's on the internet, it's permanent. I'm sure that's some rule of the internet. Once it's out there, it's out there.
I have to go answer this call.
Okay.
Good luck with your film.
Thank you. We're going to hit record again.
Hello.
Gotta get the mouse over here. All right. Welcome to section 2, part 2. We're talking about stage geography. Psychologically, there are certain and specific places to appear on stage depending on how you want to emphasize your message. Before I get too deep into this, I just want to say there are important subconscious, nonverbal movements, tonalities that will either support or take away from your message. Stage geography is one of them. Tonality is another one of them. Body language is another one of them. Energy changes, that's all part of it. Whatever you do, make it intentional. I'm going to be delivering some examples in the stage geography and in the energy sections that I say avoid this unless you're doing it on purpose to convey this message. Keep that in mind, because not everything that I share will be an absolute no. You just have to know what it means and use it intentionally. So let's talk about stage geography. There are 6 major zones on the stage: the past, the present, excuse me, really hope that gets edited out. There are 6 major zones on stage: the past, the future, the instruction section, the authority section, that's where you're super present with your audience, your connection section, and what I call the no-fly zone. Now let's map it out. Here's a map of looking down from the top view down on the stage. You can see the audience I've got here right in front, and I've got these sections mapped out on the stage. I want to show you what these mean, where they are, and how to use them. If you see presenters, if you attend events, watch for this. You'll see them use these sections sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally, and you'll sense now a subconscious incongruence. So let's outline these, tell you what they are, what they mean, and how to use them. The first section is the past section. Now, if you're looking down from the top down on the stage, it is on the audience's left side. This is where you stand when you're describing the struggle. You want to highlight any negative, meaning low energy emotions. You're looking backward in time, talking about your past, talking about your history. If you really want to underline and underscore this section of what you're saying, this is exactly where you stand and sometimes spend time. The next section is the back. This is where you spend your time. Let's talk a little bit more in depth about this. Stage left, again, remember from the audience's perspective, represents where you want to stand when describing the past or the low points, in other words, the bottom of the pool sections of your story. This helps the audience keep track of your story. Your audience reads left to right. This is an easy way to remember. So they know that this is underscoring your history. Okay, let's go back to our stage. On the right side, the audience is right. Remember, they are reading left to right. This is your future. This is where you're talking about mentorship, moving forward with you, the positivity, looking forward, anything that is future oriented or where you want them to go. This is where you stand. It's also where you point to. You don't necessarily have to hop back and forth like a pacing lion on stage. You can plant here for a while, and if you ever need to reference midstream another portion, point to that section of the stage using your body language. You can even look to that section of the stage in your body language. You'll see presenters do this quite often. I'm here, but I'm looking over here. I am here now, but I haven't always been this way. And you're pointing to the past, for example. So this is where it is. Now let's talk about how it works. Stage right, from the audience's perspective, is where you want to stand when describing the present or the high points in your future or the high points in your story. Placing yourself here when describing where you want your audience to go, especially when you're talking about people that work with you or clients that work with you, because you want your audience to eventually work with you. When you're describing this level of mentorship, it helps your audience know where to look. What you're subconsciously doing is teaching your audience to see you in their future when you stand on that side of the stage. Now, the next section is your instruction section. This is where you have your whiteboard, your pad of paper, your markers, all of that. If you don't have a pad of paper or markers, that's okay. You don't need one. If you have a single screen on stage, this is where you will put it. You'll even notice in this module, I've got my camera in the bottom right-hand section. My face, according to your perspective right now, is in the bottom right-hand section of this page. In the instructor panel, you go over here when you want to teach stuff. That means when you're in your content sections, you're going to this part of the room. Back there to write all of the stuff. One principle you want to keep in mind is a principle that they teach in acting is never turn your back on the audience. So when you're practicing with me in your pressure cooker, we're going to practice how to navigate going from one part of the stage to the next part of the stage and how to emphasize that with the proper body language, keeping your audience engaged and not turning your back on them. So let's talk about the instruction section. The instruction portion of the stage, this piece of the geography, is in the right rear. And it represents where you want to stand when describing your content and or any action steps that you want your audience to write down. This is where you put your pad of paper, your whiteboard, your single TV, or anything you want to use as a visual aid. Remember, these are optional. Don't rely on them solely. I have seen big name presenters rely too much on their PowerPoint or rely too much on their screen, and then when it fails, they get lost. I don't want you to suffer through that. It should be a support to you, not a replacement for you. This place on the stage gives you plenty of room to continue to walk the stage, and you should, but this is its anchor point. Keep that in mind. Next section of the stage is your authority zone. This is where you stand, and I have it bleeding off the stage because I want your toes over the edge. You don't use a ton of body language here, by the way. You're using very still body language. You don't want them distracted by hand movements. This is where they're focusing on your face, and you want to earn the right. Because if you're not moving a lot, if you overuse this, it gets very boring. But if you use this, and you pace your words accordingly, and you have the right eye contact, and you have the correct tonality, you have the bomb drops that land here. This is what it looks like. Stage, front, and center represents where you have your mic drop moments. These are the phrases that turn into bumper stickers and t-shirts, you guys. This needs to be used sparingly, and you need to energetically ETR, or in other words, earn the right to stand and deliver here. It means if you overdo this, if you stand and deliver here too much, your audience will be bored and they will be wrung out and they'll be tapped out. You don't want that. It includes very little body language and lots of leverage of silence, very deliberate silence. Now let's look at the next section on stage. Next section is your connection section. This is where you're actually leaving the stage and going down into your audience. There are some really beautiful, safe, connective touches you can use in your audience. A light tap with your fingers on the back of someone's shoulder in the audience can create very deep connection. When you're down connecting with your audience, keep in mind your body language. Blink as little as possible. Practice not blinking, because over blinking, it erodes your message. But if you avoid blinking and connect with people, then you can keep going and not blink. I'm going to show you a clip by Michael Caine that illustrates this experiment. I'm going to show you a clip by Michael Caine. In a minute, I'm going to show you a clip from Michael Caine where he talks about this, and he attributes most of his movie roles to not blinking. So check this out. This is what it looks like to connect with your audience. You'll see expert speakers do this very well. In fact, I was at the Limitless Arena with Pace Morby, and he actually got off the stage in a room of 3,000 people and connected with the audience. The only one to do so. Stepping off the stage and into the audience is the best way to connect with the audience. This can be done near the beginning of your presentation and frequently throughout. It makes your audience feel seen and heard and allows you to address the black holes. Now, what do I mean by black holes? Energetically, there are some people in your audience that either got pushed, pulled, or dragged in like a used car. Their spouse brought them, their friend brought them, their boss made them come, and they don't necessarily want to be there because they didn't get there of their own free will and choice, if you will, at some level. So when you sense those black holes, the way to dissolve them is actually by going towards them. I want to get near you. I want you to know that I see you. I want to connect with you. I want you to know that there's something valuable here for you, even though it might surprise you. So pick up an energetic vibe for the room. Understand where those black holes are coming from. Typically, it will reside right outside the T-zone, actually furthest from the T-zone. Let me show you where the T-zone is. You see on the screen here, you've got your front row of your audience. These are your super fans. These are the people that buy your VIP tickets. These are the upper level program purchasers. And then from that middle aisle section, there's the long base leg of the T. You've got your top of the T with your front row, and then the center aisle, which is the base leg. These are where your super fans will sit. That's where they hang out. Now in the polar corners are the people that are unsure. That's typically where people sit when they're not totally bought in, or when they have a black hole. I tend to spend just enough time there to bring everyone in. And I go to the back of the room and I talk to people one-on-one, even when I'm talking to the entire audience. Let's look at the next section of the stage. This is what I call the no-fly zone. Keep yourself away from this area as much as possible. I don't want you to spend a ton of time here. It inspires low confidence in your audience, especially if you use this area to turn your back. Now, if you're talking about a low confidence section, in fact, when I talk about my history and I talk about where I came from when I started in the mentoring space, I deliberately shrink my body language. I tiptoe to the back of the stage. I bring my arms tight into my chest. I might even fold them and crouch down. And sometimes I even turn my back to the audience to tell how closed off I was. These are very intentional movements. I don't spend a lot of time in this no-fly zone unless it supports my message. So let's talk about this. You will spend very little time in this zone. People that are afraid of speaking will walk backwards and hold the microphone really tightly to their chest and kind of wait there. And they'll kind of use these awkward pauses and awkward giggles. When you do that, it's a sign you're not confident on stage yet. And when you're not confident on stage, how do you expect your audience to be confident with you? It is where people show up when they're weak, they want to play small, they're shrinking, and they're not really... That untrustworthy word was really hard to read backwards. They're This is where people go when they feel weak. They want to portray playing small. They want to portray shrinking. And it's an untrustworthy zone. Avoid this area. Again, unless you're consciously trying to demonstrate these feelings as a part of your story, you don't want to hang out in the no-fly zone. All right, friends, that is wrapping up stage geography. Now, again, this is best practice in the pressure cooker. Next up, we have body language as part of your signature presentation. Take notes. If you have any questions, jump in the school community right now, ask them, and then we'll get those answered. We'll see you in the next module. Any live feed stuff that we need to answer?
No, it doesn't look like it. Just people joining and leaving, joining and leaving.
Cool. It's an open house backstage.
Yep, it is.
I'm very excited to eat real food when we're done.
Yeah, me too.
How are the kiddos doing?
I don't know. Chelsea's taking care of them.
Thank goodness for that one.
I'm here taking care of this.
You're amazing.
Thanks.
You guys can't see Richard, but he's totally chilling on the Michael Scott bed.
I am.
If you don't know what that means, we need to have you watch The
I
Office.
feel sad for you.
I feel sad for you. Okay, let's get into the next section here. Oh, I clicked away. Okay. All right, this is step 2, part 3. When I say step 2, that's going through the 11 steps, babe. Rich? At the beginning of the videos, when I say step 2, that's referring to the 11 steps.
Okay.
So this is step 2, part 3. Time to talk about body language, because guess what? A picture conveys 1,000 words. So you might be surprised to hear this, but body language actually conveys more about your presentation than your mouth will. It's hot. Hold on, I gotta restart that. Step 2, part 3. This is a really fun section to go through. In fact, I've recorded a lot of YouTube videos about this, and the topic of today's module is body language. I need that Ursula voice, right? So this is where we're going to teach you why and how you use your body to tell your story. Your words are actually a very small portion of what you're communicating, if you can believe that. Your tone and your body language do most of the talking. All your movements should be intentional and support your message. There are some no things, and there are some very yes things, and there are body language movements that you'll create. So let's dive right in. Now, my clicker wasn't clickifying. There we go. We're going to go over 5 specific sections of the body. There are more, but we're going to focus on these 5. If I wanted to go into every single muscle in the body, we could, but we're not going to take the time to do that. We've put it basically into these 5 zones. We're going to start with the eyes. The eyes are the primary storyteller. You've heard they are the window to the soul. Before we get into expression, let's cover the basics. Number 1, eye contact. Now, it's important to know that most people can't stand more than 6 seconds of straight eye contact. Why is this helpful? Because you want to break what's comfortable for most people. If you can hold someone's eye contact unblinking for 6 seconds or more, you're going to create a very deliberate and deep connection. You will probably see a body language response where they either lean back or they lean in or they have a response of some kind. That's good. I want to connect with them as long as it's very intentional. So if you're holding for 6 seconds and beyond with one audience member at a time, it creates a very deep connection, not just with that person, but with the entire audience as a whole. Why? Because nobody knows when they're going to be next. And if you're connecting with one person at a time, you're never speaking to a whole room. You're speaking to a group of individuals, which is exactly what we want. So let's go check out the next section. Number 2, gaze direction. We talked about this a moment ago. Where you look will direct the audience's attention. So if I'm standing in the past zone and I want to talk about the future zone, I can look to the future and my audience will follow me. If I look to a PowerPoint, my audience is going to follow me. If I look down at my body, my audience is going to follow me. If I look at my hands, my audience is going to follow me. So wherever you're looking is where the audience will follow. Number 3, don't blink. There's a little Easter egg in there for you. Blinking, especially excessive blinking, is a sign of weakness. Actually practice. Strengthen your eyes. Look into the mirror and count how long you can hold it without blinking. Check this out. This is a YouTube clip by Michael Caine, who played in many, many movies that you're probably familiar with. This is from early in his work. Check out what he says here.
First of all, you never change eyes, and what you do is you pick an eye. Now, which eye do you pick? I look at with this eye because the camera is there. I look at this eye, at your eye there, which brings my face you can see. If I look with this eye at that eye, look what you get. You see the difference? But it's the same look. And if I keep blinking, it weakens me. But if I'm talking to you, and I don't blink, and I just keep going, and I don't blink, and I keep on going, and I don't blink, you start to listen to what I'm saying. And it makes me a very strong person, as opposed to someone who's sitting there going, which is someone who's completely flustered.
So here's a takeaway from that. There's a couple of things that Michael Caine talks about. First of all, he talks about which eye I'm looking at you with. Typically, people connect right eye to right eye. If we connect with left eye, it's the same look, but it conveys a different message. Watch this. When you're talking to people, just observe. Try not to change it. Just observe which eye you're looking at and which eye you're using. Most people, not everyone, but most people are right eye dominant, so this is a very natural approach for people. Even if they're left eye dominant, most people connect right eye to right eye because of that forward movement, that forward thrust. Then Michael talks about not blinking. Try it. Look in the mirror. Literally practice in the mirror. Watch what happens. How long can you hold your own gaze without blinking? When your eyes start to burn and you start to feel the clouds moving in and you lose your vision. Guys, I have stared at audience members for so long without blinking that I actually can't see them anymore because my eyes have gotten so dry that they've kind of lost their ability to see. And I connect with people for this depth on purpose so that I can tell a story, especially if it's a deep part of my story. Now, you'll notice when Michael starts telling about blinking, he doesn't even use his words. And you're getting so much from the body language alone of the weakness of continual blinking. Every blink is a disconnect. This is incredibly useful information. I'm going to post that YouTube link in the module separately. Oh, Richard is, actually. Oh, I lost it. Eyes express emotion. The eyes alone tell you more about the story, and they're really difficult to fake. This is where most speakers reveal that they are disconnected from their message because their eyes... Oops, that slide needs to be edited. Oop. Words. I just messed that up. Words. Eyes express emotion. The eyes alone tell you so much about someone's story because they're connected to the limbic system of the brain. The limbic system is a part of the brain that's responsible for the emotion. The limbic system is a part of the brain that's The limbic system is the part of the brain that's responsible for emotion. And your emotion is directly connected to your body. You wear your emotion all the time. And your words only represent such a small section of what you're trying to convey. They say that for every 450 words that you think, only 100 come out of your mouth. The rest show up in your body language because the limbic system is pushing it directly to the muscles and the nerves. Now check this out. Most speakers reveal what they're thinking. We just lost battery on the iPad. Most speakers reveal that they're disconnected from their message because their eyes don't match their words. Watch for this. When you deliver in the mirror, when you watch your own signature presentation, and also watch for it in other speakers. Say, where are they congruent? Where are they incongruent? All right, let's move on to number 5, the direction of your eyes. Not only in pointing to one specific side of the stage, but also while you're thinking. This says a lot about what's going on. Where you look and subconsciously, let's see. The direction of your eyes is not only directing where your audience should be looking, but subconsciously it also tells them what you're looking for, especially when you're thinking. It also reveals where your audience is looking for answers. So while you're talking on stage, your audience is listening and they're responding with their body language. So not only do you get to be really good at mastering your own body language, but you get to observe and be aware of what your audience is telling you when they're not speaking. Watch their eyes. Watch what they're doing. Watch for the obvious things like pulling out their phone or yawns or whatever the case might be. Keep an eye on that. No pun intended. Because your audience is going to give you feedback unintentionally but authentically. Now here's a key to what we're looking for. When you see eyes go up, whether they're your own or somebody else's, they're looking for inspiration. They're looking for answers outside themselves from source. When you look down, when you see eyes that look down, they're looking inward. Like the answer's inside of me. And if they're not saying anything, they're usually summoning up the courage to say the truth. When they look left or right, they're looking outside of themselves. They're looking in their past, present, future, whatever corresponds to that, for answers. Your left is your own past, your right is your own future. When you see eyes that do eye rolls, if you've ever been a teenager or you have teenagers, you're probably very familiar with this one. Eye rolls express contempt, condescension, looking down on that, frustration. Eyes closed, dreaming, visualizing, might even be sleeping. When I did my second presentation, I had 3 people in the room. I went into a meditation. I had everyone close their eyes on purpose because I want them to visualize, but I stayed in the meditation too long and too unentertainingly, and they fell asleep. I literally had to wake up my audience. Luckily, there were only 3 of them. So these are the keys. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you'd like. Next up, let's talk about mouth expressions and your lips. Your mouth and lips are controlled, again, by the limbic system of your brain. So it's very easy to literally read someone's mind by their mouth movements alone. Actions speak louder than words. The actions of your face tell a huge part of your story. And again, this starts in infancy. Infants use this body language and it stays with us our entire adult lives. Look at this. What expression does this tell you? It's disgust. I literally scrunch up my nose and smelling something gross, right? This is why when you're changing a baby's diaper, if you give a face of disgust, babies can actually cry, not because they have diaper rash or because they're in pain, but because you're expressing disgust with them. I've made a conscious effort. I don't know if I've ever even told Richard this. Whenever I'm changing a diaper, I make a conscious effort to smile at my babies because I don't want them to think I'm disgusted with them. I say, oh my gosh, what a poopy diaper. Oh, that's so gross. Yeah, not scrunching up my face in disgust. I go, ooh, that's so stinky, because I want them to have a positive diaper change. And there have been kids that cry at every diaper change because they're afraid of what their parents' face is doing. Okay? We also express other different kinds of emotions, like these are the exclamation marks. Your eyebrows going up, that's the exclamation mark. When your audience is shocked, that's what they'll do. We see different things happen, and we see it since infancy, and infants can recognize this as well. Okay, let's go into some examples here. Number 1, your smile is your logo. Remember to smile. Guys, this might be common. Oh, I gotta go back. Now let's go into some examples. Friends, your smile is your logo. Remember to smile when you speak. This should feel like a no-brainer. I know it sounds silly, but practice in the mirror. You might be surprised with what happens when you think you're smiling. I know 2 individuals very specifically that were very surprised by their own smile. I'll give you one example. This person went down and they were actually a speaker training, and the moderator said, "You never smile." And the speaker was like, "What? I smile all the time. What are you kidding? What are you talking about?" And he said, "Go in the mirror. Go in the mirror when you get home and close your eyes, smile, and then open your eyes." The speaker did this and they were shocked, literally physically taken aback. "Oh my gosh, that's what it looks like when I smile." I had another example. I took a picture with someone. I smiled for the picture came back, and I showed the picture to one of my friends, and they said, "Why is that person so pissed off?" And I said, "I don't know. I'll call them and see if they're okay." They were smiling. They didn't even know it, and nobody else could tell. So practice your smile. Be authentic. Look at what you look like when you're trying to smile versus an authentic smile. The biggest difference in an authentic smile versus a fake smile is these little crow's feet lines right here. Now watch this. If I were to smile, this is the Sears Portrait Studio smile, by the way. I don't have any crow's feet. This is the polite, some people call it the flight attendant smile. The smile that is genuine is this one. I've got crow's feet right here. You can see the wrinkles. I'm thinking about something funny. It's going well. Now, that's not to say that this smile is inauthentic. It just means I'm being polite. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But if you want to tell your story with the absolute most leverage, consider this. Do you want to smile fully? This is kind of creepy. Or do you want to smile politely? And does it support your story? Now, let's talk about what it looks like when you cover your mouth. This is kind of involving the hands as well. Covering your mouth, usually with your hands, your finger, tells the audience that you want to say something, but you're holding it in. If you see your audience doing this, it usually means your audience has a question. This is what it looks like. This is probably a familiar pose for lots of you. I'm thinking. I have something I want to say, but I'm literally blocking it with a finger. I might even do this. Literally holding the words inside, biting my lips, because I have something to say and I'm not willing to let it out. So watch for covering or pursing of the lips. Next one. Again, pursing of the lips. We just covered this. Smirking. This is that half smile. The Elvis lip. All of these things can mean that there is some level of disdain or disgust. Use them intentionally and watch for them in your audience. If you're trying to tell a story about something that's disgusting and you're getting this response, then you're telling the story effectively because you can tell that your audience is feeling it. If you're using this to tell about something disgusting in your story, you can use that face without even any words to convey this message. If you see someone using that face to you and you don't want them to be, then you know a little bit about them. You say that person's experiencing some level of disgust when I'm interfacing with them. Something I'm saying or something they're experiencing is bringing that emotion up. Let's go to the next one. From mouth, we go to posture. I call this the 2 millimeter rule. As with all aspects of your body language, your posture sends a variety of messages, all of which, again, intentional. I'm not here to say that every disdain is bad. I'm not here to say every eye roll is bad. I'm not here to say that. What I am saying is use it on purpose. Just like when you compose a photograph. Everything should be there on purpose. If there's something in the background that's not supposed to be there, that suddenly takes the spotlight. And I don't want your body language to be incongruent with your message. So your posture, I call this the 2 millimeter rule. 90% of the audience's perception of you and of your confidence is observed through the last 2 millimeters of your posture. Now, when I stand and I deliver this, when I'm speaking to my students, I practice this with the audience. I say, look at me right now. My chest is out, my shoulders are back, and then tell me when I lose it. Right there. It's such a small, distinctive difference, but it makes a huge difference in their perception of you. And if you can be aware of it, your presentation becomes that much more powerful. Let's talk a little bit about the body language when it comes to posture. Open body language with your arms wide and your feet apart. That doesn't mean you have to be a total starfish like snowman, but with your arms wide, your feet apart, no bends in the elbows, arms high up here, conveys a level of vulnerability and openness that allows you to connect with your audience. So a lot of times I will use this body language on purpose in the authority position. When I'm in the authority position, my neutral, my baseline is just arms at my side. But if I want to be really vulnerable, or I want to teach someone to be really vulnerable, you'll see even pictures of me doing this, holding someone's hand to teach them to be open, confident, and vulnerable. Total starfish mode. Part number 3, stability in your stance. This plants your words and provides an authoritative foundation for your message. The more stable you are with your body, in other words, the more stable your messaging. The more you wander, you shift your weight, the more shifty your message becomes. Use this in conjunction with stage geography on purpose, intentionally. If I want to talk about someone who is really shifty and who I didn't trust, I can shift my body weight around. But if I'm talking about someone like a role model or a father figure or a mother figure, and I'm shifting my body weight around, that tells my audience that I actually don't have any trust in that person. So if you want to make your message shifty, shift around. If you want to make your message strong and you want it to be precise, you see how I switch my eyes? Then be planted on stage. Anchor yourself. Watch for fidgeting toes. Watch for shifting. Even if you're not shifting from step to step, side to side, if you're shifting your weight from one leg to the other, that can be shifty as well. So plant yourself. Practice planting yourself on stage. The next body language is hands. Hands, I don't know if there's anything that quite compares to this because people use their hands entirely to communicate. When you think about ASL, if you've ever watched someone signing, you know how critical hand movements are in communication. I'll never forget reading the book The Lorax, and we read it in 7th grade, a little bit old, a little bit youthful, I should say, for that age group. But one thing that I noticed in this book is that they only ever used the hands to convey that the one-slur was part of the page. Now, they changed that for the illustrated movie version. I was kind of wondering if they would do that. But in the book, they only showed the hands of the one-slur, and that conveyed a big message. Hand poses tell so much about your story, and yet it is one of the most unconscious parts of our body movement. So let's talk about it. Different hand gestures mean different things, especially on your country, depending on your country, your location, your culture, your geography. It would be very, very ingenious of you if you are speaking on another stage in another country to understand what could be perceived as insulting hand language before you go over there, because you might sew an okay sign and that's here good in the United States, but it means something completely offensive somewhere else. For example, in the UK, I learned this from Richard actually. The peace sign, when you turn it around, is a very offensive hand gesture. It's worse than flipping birds. So when you're traveling overseas to speak, or if you're speaking to an international audience, neutrality is the best. Rule of thumb, no pun intended. Rule of thumb with your hands is to not use them. When in doubt, don't use your hands. The next one, visibility. Not just body language and shape and movement, but keeping your hands visible, meaning don't put them in your pockets, don't have them tucked behind your back, unless you want your audience to not trust you on purpose. When in doubt, again, the best place for your hands is right by your side. I learned that from Jean-Luc Picard. What's his name? Patrick Stewart. I learned that from him. The best place for your hands, when in doubt, is just right by your side. Do nothing with them. Here's what not to do.
Junior, driving has got nothing to do with interview. I just wish the hell you had a little more stupid cowboy in you.
I felt like I was on a spaceship. And I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Be good just hold them down by your side. Yeah, great.
We were real happy with what was going on. And at the end of the day, you gotta be happy.
What'd you say his name was again?
His name is Ricky. Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
his first name. Whatever the hell his name is. Let's get him over here.
Everything ended up fine.
Yeah, okay, everything's fine. Thanks. Great job, Ricky. Good job in the car. Ricky Bobby, a force to be reckoned with possibly in the near future.
Just kidding. Check the presentation. Oh, I love that movie. Oh my gosh, it's such a good show. Enough said, right? We get it? We get it? Okay. All right, moving on. I don't know what to do with my hands. Okay, let's talk about the stuff that's in your hands. We got the clicker for the teleprompter. Sometimes you'll be using a handheld microphone. You won't have a cheek mic. You might have some props. You might have some papers that you're holding up for the people to sign up. You might have, your book, anything that you're holding on display. Anything that you're fidgeting with is immediately going to take the spotlight. So if you're holding it in your hand, make sure you're doing that on purpose. Anything that you're manhandling, that becomes the center of attention. So if you're using this to your advantage, that's great for your CTA. I once had someone actually selling their book from stage, and they wanted people to buy their book, and then they did this with their book. They grabbed their book, they were talking about it, and they held it like this, waved it around. We never got a really good look at it. And then they took their book, and they threw it off to the side. You know how many people got their book? I don't, but it wasn't very many, because they treated their book with so much disrespect. When you want your audience to treat something seriously, you need to handle it with the appropriate body language. You want to Vanna White this stuff. Hold it right by your face. You want to make sure that the cover is clear. You ever notice how they hold cans of soda or books in commercials? This book is upside down. They hold it with their hands away from the logo, away from anything they want you to see. They don't just throw it to the side. They treat it with care, like a cute little baby. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to put it down right here. I'm going to give it to a member of the audience, maybe even so that they can see themselves taking it. But I'm not going to throw it. I'm not going to distract people with just disrespect of the item. You want to treat it as if it is fragile and beautiful. So when you're holding something in your hand that you want the audience to take, whether it's your book or your sign-up papers, hold it up high, hold it by your face, keep your hands away from what you want the audience to see, and then treat it with respect when you get rid of it. When you're holding something in your hand, I have seen this more often than once. A panel of experts was up on stage. They were on their chairs, and I watched several people double fist the microphone while they were holding it between their legs. Guys, that just looks bad. Don't do that. I've watched people mess with the clicker. They fidget with it. That's going to distract your audience. Again, be very intentional with whatever is in your hands. Let's talk about feet. I couldn't think of a better way to illustrate this than this little clip I found. To be true, it was my daughter that found it. This is NF. This is one of her favorite artists. I will say this, that feet are the direction of your presentation. And this is NF just playing around with this at one of his concerts. It's weird, he says. Okay, that honestly had very little to do with feet. But did you notice how he got the audience moving? The audience was totally enrolled. He could make up whatever he wanted. He's like, speaker, speaker, and the audience would chant it. Foot, 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 the audience would chant it. Talk about influence, right? So let's talk about your feet. Your feet reveal information to your audience about the direction, where you want to be, where you are, and how you're going to move, or in other words, get there. Not just with your presentation, but with your story. Okay, meaning I'm not going to just tell them the direction where my presentation going. When I'm in my hero's journey, they're going to watch my feet subconsciously and wonder where I'm going. Am I moving to the future? Am I walking to the past? What's my pacing like? It's also the area of your body language where your footwear and apparel will be the largest part of nonverbal communication. So yeah, your shoes matter. I will say that. Your shoes convey a message. People watch for that. And I don't like to admit that we judge a book by its cover, but we all do. So wear shoes that deliver the message that supports your presentation. So let's talk more about this. Standing. Your positioning reveals how steady you are. We touched on this a moment ago. Standing with your feet crossed, your ankles crossed. If your feet are too close together or too far apart, it makes you and your message unsteady. Number 2, direction. Your feet will reveal literally where you want to go next, even if you're just standing there. If you're, and watch this, when you're having conversations with people, I use this on purpose actually. When you're having conversations with people, maybe you've talked, I just burped. When you're standing there talking to someone and this person has what has been called the gift of gab, and the conversation starts to not really have any substance anymore, I will actually turn my feet. Let me get that fixed. What I will actually do is turn one of my feet toward the exit of the room. And in fact, I used to have a neighbor that I lived really close to, the sweetest person in the world, but this is the person that would talk and 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 not say a whole lot of substance, but I could tell they just needed to have a conversation. And as much as I wanted to stand around, I might have had a crying baby on my hip and it didn't even matter. The talking would just continue and continue. And so I consciously just put one foot in front of the other, and in my head I'm like, as long as I keep walking, I'll eventually get to my front door and I can go inside as long as I keep walking. And that's what I did. So when you're talking to someone, watch their feet. If they hang angled one toward the exit of wherever you are, that means that they're ready to be done and they want to get away. When you're standing and delivering your presentation, watch your feet and watch what they do. Watch your audience's feet and what they do, especially when you have interactive moments like that. You're going to use your feet not only when you're standing still, but obviously when you're moving, and both tell a story. Your words mean things, but of course your audience is going to be watching where your toes are pointed. Okay, movement. Now, we talked about stationary. This is when you're moving. The direction. Oh, I've got a typo in here. There we go. Let's talk about number 3. This is the movement. The direction, the speed, the cadence, and the timing of where you want to move and when all convey a message. When we get in the pressure cooker, we tell you what these messages mean and what's being brought out of you in your body language. People notice when you pace back and forth, either needlessly or on purpose. People notice when you're prowling. I watched someone deliver a presentation, I think I posted on my Instagram, where they were literally prowling. They were walking back and forth, their face turned forward like this, and they were just prowling like a cat that wanted to pounce on its prey. It was crazy. People notice when you're sneaking, when you're hunched over, taking little baby steps. Sometimes you can use this to accentuate your story, but if you're doing it unconsciously, it usually takes away from your story. Don't get overwhelmed. This is a lot of information, especially when it comes to your body language. There's so much that can go through your mind, and it's definitely a lot to think about, especially right before you go on stage. Most of this will come very naturally to you, especially in terms of body language. But if you pay very close attention, significant presentation upgrades can be made, and significant misalignment can be alleviated and eliminated. All right, up next, step number 2, part 4, your signature presentation. This is where we're going to talk about personas. This comes into very important play when it comes into your energy, your stage geography, your body language. Your personas will be the baseline fuel for most of that. So stay tuned to the next module and we'll see you in there. How you doing?
I'm good.
You've been sitting there for, how long have you been recording? Like 5 hours?
Oh no. Wait, what's this? Verify to continue.
Oh yeah. So if we stream on TikTok for too long, it does what Netflix does. And it's like, it's still there?
Yeah.
Real person?
I caught it.
Good job.
We've been going for almost 4 hours. It's a long stream.
Yep. Oh, what comments we need to catch up on? We good?
No, we're good.
Perfect. Okay, so we have 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
I can feel myself running out of steam. Do you want to push through another module or just pick up from here?
Just pick up from here.
Okay. That was good.
Tell everyone goodbye.
That was real good. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thank you for being here. If you're watching on Twitch, I'm sure there's a way to subscribe there. I've actually never been on Twitch. Give me a follow on Twitch. That'll be super fun. Instagram, make sure you give me a follow. TikTok, give me a follow. So wonderful to be with you. I know that a lot of you are coming and going. It's really fun to hang out and watch us build this thing together. Remember, I'm cheering you on. Build with me. Join my school community. That's what I want everyone to do that's listening. Join my school community. Be part of the conversation. Let's keep the momentum going. We'll see you later.